This movie was about
Lights, camera, action is going down. For my ATL movies, when we run this town with your host, T-Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classics, we're setting the pace. Highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. T-Will, T-Will. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. T-Will, T-Will. Every frame we capture is a real deal. Yeah. Talking premieres where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine. Behind the lens, capture.
all right. Welcome to For My ATL Movies with myself, T. Will, your host, and my co-host and friend, Mr. Jordan Burden. Jordan, how you doing, brother? All well?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Can't complain. Wouldn't matter if I did. Today we are here to talk about Fantastic Four, the first one. We got Raymond Collins in the chat. Raymond says, let's get it started, Falcons fans. Well, hey, Raymond, we'll talk Falcons tomorrow. Tonight we're talking Fantastic Four, but you're welcome to stay, Raymond. You're welcome to stay. So, hey, man, how you doing, Jordan? All well?
I'm doing great. Doing great.
Good day today?
Yeah, a little busy. Yeah.
Okay. Good day for me, man. My mother-in-law is 71 years old, and that woman has treated me like a son, really has. So I love her dearly. And happy birthday, Miss Heath, my mother-in-law, wonderful person. Don't have anything bad to say about her. And like I say, man, like a second mom to me, and I love her dearly. And she probably won't watch this, but happy birthday, Miss Heath. I hope you enjoy yourself. And I won't tell anybody you're 71. She's really 27. Really 27. All right, man. Let's get to it. Fantastic Four 2005, the first movie of the first family back in 2005. Woo! A lot to unpack, Jordan. Wasn't a bad movie. I wouldn't say it was a great movie. Definitely wasn't a bad one. Raymond Collins says the movie is good. Happy birthday. Thank you, Raymond. I will tell my mother-in-law you said happy birthday. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much. So yeah, man, let's get into it. Fantastic Four, okay, the first family of Marvel. Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Woman, the Human Torch, and the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. Now, you don't hear them say that anymore, right? You know what I mean? Back in my day, they used to call them the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. You don't do that anymore, Whatever, man. Overview, man. Give me your thoughts on this movie. Give me your 360 world view on this movie, Jordan.
I remember going to see this in the theater for the first time, and I was with my mom. And now she was a huge fan of Michael Chiklis, who plays the Thing. He was in a show that she used to watch. I don't remember.
What was that show? It was, oh God, it was a good show too. It was
Yeah.
on FX. It was
Yeah.
a cop show about dirty cops. Well,
Yes.
Shield. The Shield.
I think it might have been. I have no idea. But like, this was my introduction to Michael Chiklis. This is my introduction to Chris Evans. This wasn't my introduction to Jessica Alba. This was peak Jessica Alba. Jessica Alba in the early 2000s, mid 2000s was in her prime.
Lord. And all her glory. Yes, Lord.
Yeah.
Yes, Lord.
And the guy who plays, of all the actors, it's crazy. I can never remember the guy who plays Mr. Fantastic. Was it Ion Gruffood?
You know what? Don't get me to lying. Don't get me to lying.
But this was my introduction to him. This Julian McMahon, rest in peace. He obviously passed away. What was it, like a month or two
Yeah,
ago?
something like that.
But I mean, this was a phenomenal cast, and when I saw this for the first time, I remember just loving it. I loved this movie, and we've gotten a lot of great comic book movies since this movie came out in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's hard to compare this movie to all of those. This was a good overall movie, and at the time, it was one of the better comic book movies just because we finally got introduced to Marvel's first family.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we did have a Fantastic Four movie in 1994 that was released on a very low budget just because they were supposed to keep the film rights, which I actually watched that for the first time earlier this year.
It was awful.
I still enjoyed myself with it. I understood, and you
You
gotta watch
you
it.
enjoyed that movie?
I enjoyed it because I understood what they were going through. This was filmed in like what, a month, and like on a very, very low budget. It was only to keep the rights, the filming rights, and I I was just like, yeah, like I understand it felt more like an ABC movie,
So
and like,
you're in love with Marvel. That's what it is. That's the only
yeah,
that's the only way you'd like that movie. That movie
I
was
did.
god
I
awful.
didn't
That
think it
movie
was.
was donkey hooters.
I didn't give it a positive review.
I know,
I
but the
just
fact that you would say it was okay, oh, you're in love with Marvel, sir. That's the only excuse. But go ahead.
But I mean, in this cast also, I mean, what's her name? Kerry Washington was in this cast.
Yeah, as Alicia.
I love Kerry Washington.
Me too.
We got Hamish later. He's been in. I mean, recently he's in. I don't know if you watched The Boys but in the
Yeah.
spinoff series Gen V, he is one of the main villains. Like, he is having himself a big year, so it's kind of funny. I just finished Gen V season 2, and he's right there, and we're reviewing this right now. But a great cast, and it's so funny. This is my introduction to Chris Evans, and I love him in these two
Oh, he
movies
was
as
great. He was
as
great.
Human
He was
Torch.
carefree Johnny.
I love it.
He was carefree Johnny. He was
So
Johnny Storm at his
yes.
finest.
So when I heard he was going to be Captain America, I'm like, what? Well, people are just going to remember him as Human Torch because he had such a great job as a Human Torch. Boy, was I wrong. I also thought he was going to be too skinny to play Captain America. Then he gains a whole bunch of muscle.
He solved that, didn't he? Yeah, he did.
Exactly.
What's up, John Brooks? How you doing, brother? Welcome to the show, man. Go ahead, Jordan. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, I love this movie when it first came out. We just have gotten, I mean, Oscar nominated and Oscar winning comic book movies since this movie has come out. I mean, there have been hundreds of comic book movies that have come out and series that have come out since this movie came out. We've gotten a sequel to this movie. We've gotten 2 reboots to this movie. So
one and a half. One and a half.
One and a half.
We're not even gonna give Fantatsic a whole credit. We're gonna give it half a credit because it was just as bad as the one in 1994, and it's no excuse because it had a whole budget.
I think that's worse. I think it's worse.
I will agree with you. I will agree with you. It is that bad. We're not even giving it a whole credit. We're not doing that. No, we're not doing that.
But yeah, I enjoyed myself with this movie overall. And obviously in my rating for this movie, it has gone down over time. I still think it holds up pretty well. It's especially, you got special effects for Michael Chiklis being the thing. I'm always a sucker for the practical effects with him. It's him and I forget what his name is, the Beast in X-Men: The Last Stand. I love the practical effects on that. Speaking of practical effects, side note, Gremlins 3 is going to be coming out in 2 years, officially confirmed. So let's hope practical effects for that movie. Anyways, Yeah, I always have a good time with this movie. I always put it on, and I'm just like, this movie. I'm a sucker for this movie.
Don't feed the gremlins after 12, Jordan.
Oh, I won't.
Don't do it.
I won't.
Don't feed the Mogwai after 12. So I'm saying. Hey, so who's better? Uh Captain America or Johnny Storm? Who do you like him playing better? For me, it's Captain America. Like for me, he is
Yeah.
Captain America.
Yeah.
But okay.
It's very clearly Captain America. As much as I love him as a Human Torch, in fact, he is the standard for Johnny Storm.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, and in my opinion, as much as I loved, I don't remember his name from Stranger Things, who's now our new Johnny Storm. I thought he did a really good job, and I thought he had more character depth
He
than
did.
this one.
He
But
did.
the charisma that Chris Evans
Yeah.
has in this
Yeah.
role
Yeah.
is incredible. It's so good that, in my opinion, he is the main star of the sequel.
Okay. Well, I mean, we'll get to see it in a few weeks, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
it'll be fine. Raymond Collins says motorcycle mayhem. So yeah, I like that. I like the fact that Johnny did all sorts of stunts and with the motorcycle and the ski board or whatever that was. But
Mm-hmm.
Johnny was that dude, man. Johnny was all out, all to the wall. And Johnny had some of the favorite lines too, like, so
Mm-hmm.
where are your ears? You don't have somebody that. So where are your ears? And then when Ben wakes up, he's like, "Hey, buddy, we tried, we did everything we could." I was like, because I forgot. I thought he was gonna wake up as a thing. I was like, what a jerk, man. But
Every time that he's in the snowboard accident at the beginning of the movie and he crashes and then looks at the girl, he just was on fire. He's in the middle of a whole bunch of water and he looks up to her naked and is like, "Care to
want to
join me?"
join? Yeah,
Every
that's great.
time I'm like,
That
this
was great.
guy is
That was
crazy.
great. Yeah, he's a closer, man. He's a closer. Like that's great. You know what I mean? Like just off the dome, just like, okay, want to join me?
Another great one is when she's trying to take his temperature and he's just rambling on and he's like, she's like, "Whoa, you're hot," and
He
he's
goes,
like, "Why, thank you," and I'm
thank
not
you.
afraid to cry.
And so are you. You're hot too, and I'm not afraid to cry. I tell you what, you meet me at 401 at the top of the mountain. He was something else, man. He was something else. All right, so 4 astronauts and one. Do we call Von Doom an astronaut? I mean, I guess he was a space explorer.
Yeah.
But they all gain powers after cosmic radiation. Of course, Mr. Fantastic has the ability to stretch. Sue Storm has invisibility and force field. Johnny Storm is a human touch, and Ben is the ever-loving thing. And Victor Von Doom is transformed into Doom. And I guess one of the things I didn't like about this film is that you don't get a sense of the power of Doctor Doom. You just don't. You don't. And it's kind of hard to. The one thing about the MCU now is they take the time to develop a villain. Like Thanos, it took time to develop him, right? You saw him in the first one. You saw him at the end. And then you don't see him again. And then you see him in another movie. And then you see him in another movie. And so you develop this. Who is that? Wow. There was this mystique about him. But they really didn't develop him. And, yeah, we could see that he could shoot these energy blasts, but you don't know anything about the magic. You don't know about the ruthlessness. You don't know about the genius of Doom. Now, they did capture the jealousy of Reed Richards. They did do that. Because Doom is anything if not jealous of Reed Richards and not incredibly petty. Oh my God, he's petty. Okay. And they captured that, but to me, they didn't really develop him the way he should have been developed because we're talking about Doctor Doom. You know what I mean? We're talking about like Doctor Doom rivals Kang.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like as far as his intelligence, as far as his need for power. Kang wants power, but Doom wants power. Doom would blow the world up just so he can have power for 5 minutes and
Mm-hmm.
consider it acceptable and try and figure out how to do it all over again. But to me, he's underdeveloped. Give me your thoughts on. I mean, am I wrong? Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, the one thing I want to say is about them and getting their powers is I don't think any any movie has wrongfully done their powers except for maybe First Steps. It's so crazy because they all display why they're about to get their specific powers,
Yeah.
and it builds up to it. And this movie does it the best because, I mean, Reed is always trying to stretch himself far beyond his limitations. I'm pretty sure Doctor Doom makes the reference at the beginning of this movie, something about that.
Okay.
And that's why he's got the stretching powers. Sue feels like she's invisible. She feels like she's not being heard or
That's
seen.
right, because she says to him, "I want to be seen," in their
Yes.
conversation. You're right
Yes.
about that. Okay.
So you get her invisibility. Johnny Storm, I mean, he's a hothead. Let's all be honest. That's the exact reason why he can flame on and flame off. And the thing has, I mean, the best way I've been able to describe it is in the trailer for Fantastic Four First Steps. Sue literally says he's our rock. He's our literal and figurative rock of our family. And at the end of the day, he's like he's the embodiment of this family. Is like uh he's the heart, reads the brain, and Sue is the what I saw someone had a great tweet that described all four of them as like putting together in one body, and I was like, that is such a great analogy. I can't remember who the Human Torch or Invisible Woman were, but like this movie does such a great job of capturing all that. And then Victor Von Doom, I mean, he gets his powers because he's trying to screw with all like the technology and stuff
Yeah.
in that moment. And I think I don't think there's a figurative way as to why he got his powers. I think it's more literal. But I mean, I'm sure there if you took a really deep dive, you could figure it out. But I love the way they get all of their powers and the way it's showcased. It's so amazing. It might be so great that that's why they didn't show up in Fantastic Four First Steps, how they got their powers. Like you hear the screams and stuff of them as they're getting their powers, but the screen goes black. So all you're doing is hearing the mission and happen, and but this just does such a great job of physically showing it.
I love the way you explain that, man, and it makes perfect sense. I did not think about because he did reference Reed always stretching himself.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did it and Sue did it, and Sue definitely said, "I want to be seen."
Yes,
literally, and then 5 minutes later, he's like, not even a minute later, he's like,
mm-hmm.
"I can't." She's like, "What do you mean you can't? Look at me!" And he's like, "Sue, look at your hands." So you're 100% right. That's a good catch there. That's a
And
great catch.
as for what you said about Victor Von Doom, I've always been a sucker for this Doctor Doom just because he was our first like major live action adaptation of Doctor Doom. So there was nothing else to compare it to. It's like we knew what we had wasn't comic accurate, but I still enjoyed. I was okay with this. I was okay with it.
It's the
like
sentiment.
If this came out 20 years later, obviously it's going to have issues.
Right.
But because of when it took place, you're like, this is fine. And I mean, we didn't even get a good Doctor Doom adaptation in Fantatsic 10 years later. We got worse. You know what? I'm not even gonna go on that tangent.
Thank you.
We're not even gonna talk about that. But
from now on, Fantatsic will be referred to as
it.
Yes. Yes.
But I like.
So decreed. Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
And I really like Julian McMahon's performance. I really do. I've always enjoyed his performance as Doctor Doom. I mean, like when he passed away, every single person that I follow just had nothing but amazing things to say about him personally or just as his role. And that just goes to show the impact that he had in this role. And it wasn't comic accurate at all. But
Mm-hmm.
I remember I had the action figure of Doctor Doom. I loved it. I had action figures of every single one of these characters, and you know who I played with the most? Doctor Doom, because I could remove his mask and put it back on, and he had the scarred face and stuff like that. It was awesome. I loved it, and yeah, I love this. I have such a fun time with this movie. But yeah, it's not comic accurate, but I also understand the time frame that was going on with this movie, and that's why like you compare this movie to like Spider-Man 2, which came out what two a year or two or a year or two before this movie came out.
Yeah, I think it came out 2004.
And with you're in the prime of the Raimi trilogy, which had very comic accurate Doc Ock, but a
Mm-hmm.
not so. I wouldn't call Green Goblin a very comic accurate Green Goblin, and that's where this movie, and it took me a while to realize this, and I every time I mention it, people are like, "Oh, really?" This Doctor Doom it follows almost the exact same storyline that Norman Osborn goes through in the first Spider-Man film. Like he has this big company. He goes and has this big
Yeah,
project.
yeah,
This project screws up. Then
yeah,
he's kicked off the board of the business. He
yeah,
goes and has payback on that business partners, and then he goes and fights our main heroes.
yeah.
And that
That
he
is
goes through the same
exact.
thing.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
to me, where in Spider-Man the story arcs kind of mirror each other,
Hmm.
I can't say that was the case in this one.
Right. You're 100% right.
I can't say they mirrored each other.
Hmm.
Reed was kind of building while Doom's kingdom was crumbling.
Hmm.
And of course, Doom blamed him. Doom doesn't take any responsibility for the fact that he's like, we came here to space to do. He takes no responsibility for that. Blames everything on Reed, and of course, he just descends into further and further madness. But let's get into the first scene, man. They're in the Bastard Building with Von Doom Enterprises. They're doing the presentation, and of course, Reed is seeking funding. And Doom says something about why they um, rejected him at NASA or why NASA turned him down or something like that. And, they come to terms and they agree. And Doom says, well, it'll be 75%. And then he says 75% of a billion is still a whole lot of change. You can do a whole lot with it, but you can see from the get that Doom was intimidated by Reed. I don't know
Hmm.
if he still is, but was. And there's a little envy because he said, you had everybody at MIT feeling like, what did he say? Boys amongst or something like that. Something that he referenced, but he basically is alluding to the fact that everyone in his class, I guess including him, felt inferior to Reed. And he's like, it's good to see the tables turn, and you see that there's some envy here. And you wonder at just how this is going to, go moving forward. And of course, he introduces Sue Storm, and we learn that Sue and Reed used to date, and they're not dating anymore. Let's talk about that whole dynamic in this first scene, man. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, in my opinion, this is probably a huge weakness of the movie is this opening scene, which I mean, I think they're kind of looking for like a cold opening, just kind of throwing us into okay, we're planning the trip to space, and we really don't have a huge fundamental understanding. Like Reed's saying, like we could solve like different illnesses and stuff like that by
Right.
going out and it's a whole bunch of science talk to the average moviegoer that we're just like, all right, we don't really understand. We just kind of want to get to the point. And
Yeah.
It's probably not the best start. And obviously, we're putting the villain in a dark corner of a room to like clearly show like, oh, that guy's gonna be bad.
He's the bad guy. This guy right here, he's the
if
bad guy.
if anyone's wondering who the antagonist of this film is, I would
This guy.
definitely look at someone over there.
It's this guy. Yeah.
Like why is Ben even there? Like Ben is a pilot at the end of the day. Like I guess he's there to support his friend.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's it.
Well, he's Reed's protector. He's Reed's
Yeah.
protector.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, his literal and figurative rock. Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't really have a whole ton to say, just because this opening is one of the more boring parts of the film. Like because it doesn't do anything. It doesn't. It, like, if I were to describe the scene to someone, I'd just be like, all right, they have this. They're trying to go to space, and he's trying to get help from Doctor Doom to go to space. That's it. And then also, by the way, Doctor Doom is dating Mr. Fantastic's ex, which another thing that kind of bothered me with this movie is the idea that they open up with Sue and Reed are not together. And in fact, they're separated. Like, they are no longer together anymore.
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay. So it's an odd dynamic, and Sue just jumped ship from Doctor Doom like really quickly in this movie. Like, if they were in an action, I understand why she did, because he was very manipulative and egotistical. I get it, but it was almost like neither of them cared for one another at all.
I don't think. Well, Doom does Doom love anything more than himself?
No.
I mean,
no.
Doom is all about power. Okay. I mean, Sue was, excuse me for saying this, something to do, right? But she's literally, in his mind, a trophy wife. She's something to attain, but she's, she would not be what she would be to Reed. And I don't think she loves him. I don't think she loves him. I think he was just there. You know what I mean? I think he was just, maybe the rebound. But I don't. It's clear she doesn't love him.
And he proposed to her too.
He did, and she was like,
that's crazy.
But look at her response, though. Her response was like, "Oh," but it wasn't what it should have been if she loved him. You know what I mean? There are no tears.
And I love that scene because he doesn't say like, "Will you marry me?" He's like, 4 words that will like change our lives. And then Reed comes in, it's like the cloud is accelerating,
right,
or something. Yeah,
right.
Like the 4 words. Like, of course, that was a great line, because it would change their lives. The cloud, it was accelerating, and that's how they got their powers.
And maybe the cloud coming in was, maybe that represented Reed, and the fact that it was going to change her life, and that he was going to be a part of it, because literally it happens as he's proposing to her. But she never, again, she wasn't broken up about it. She wasn't like, okay, well, after the storm, let's get together. Like, I never got a sense of urgency from her where he was concerned.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I never got that. But let's talk about the space station. So Reed's calculations fail. They are all bombarded with cosmic radiation. They're trying to get Ben in. And of course, Von Doom is like, close the door. We've got to go. And she's like, we've got to try. And they're trying to get Ben in. And all of the storm reverberates throughout all of them. And they are all impacted in different ways. And that's, I did not think about that. But that is very interesting, the way you explain how they got their powers, because it makes sense. It makes total sense. So kudos, man. Kudos. I like the way you did that. But we're literally witnessing the creation of the Fantastic Four, right? But it doesn't manifest like I thought it was going to manifest, like all at once. It takes time, and it's brought on by stress and or different situations. So I thought that was interesting. But let's get on to scene 3. They're in the labs, and of course, their power starts to manifest. And I think Reed and Sue are sitting down, and Sue's telling them she literally wants to be seen, and then she goes invisible, and she looks at her hand and knocks her cup off, and Reed instinctively just uses his powers to grab the cup, and so we see their two powers manifest. I think Johnny was skiing
Snowboarding.
down the mountain
Yeah.
with his lady friend,
Mm-hmm.
and his powers manifest, and of course we
Mm-hmm.
talked about that. And so as all of this is happening, Mr. Fantastic says, "We got to go get Ben," and they
Wait,
go to get him.
let me describe Ben. Let me describe Ben. Ben was having bad shrimp. Okay, okay. He had to go. Okay, his stomach was rumbling. All right, and he had to go, and nobody seen or heard from him since. So that must have been some real bad shrimp. Anyways.
Had to be really bad, man. And of course he's laying down and he transforms in his sleep. And really, to me, Ben's character arc in this movie is self acceptance. To
Mm-hmm.
me, is just this awful thing happened to him, and it's learning to accept it and learning to find the good in it, and learning to accept yourself even when the world sees you as one thing. Learning that you have to see yourself in a certain way. You have to see the beauty within you. You have to see the usefulness within you. And I think that's a big thing for him. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he freaks out, man. He just runs out of there and he's running home and he's going to see his girlfriend. And we got to talk about Miss Deb, man. We got to talk about Miss. We got to have a
Mm-hmm.
conversation, okay? Because I'm so sick and tired of women saying that love is unconditional, and clearly in this movie the representation is that it's not. And with most people. Now some people they might look past it, right? I'd be willing to bet that my wife of 32 years, if I came home as this thing, she would at least talk to me. You know what I mean? She might be like, "Step in the dark." I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't see you right now.
Mm-hmm.
But she wouldn't run like Deborah does. So let me set up the scene. So Ben goes home. He calls her on the phone. She's like, "Baby, are you here?" And she comes out. And he's like, "You remember when we said we could get through anything?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he steps out and she is mortified and she runs from him and is really cold. And I didn't like that because you hear women talk all the time about wanting to be loved unconditionally. That's not unconditional love, man. That is a condition. Um, and I just felt like that was a statement that basically says all love is not unconditional love. Now, do I think everyone would do that? No, I don't. I don't. I think there's some women that would definitely stay and work it out, and it might be awkward. And there might be some women that would at least try and work through it with them. But she just runs, dude. She just runs, right? And then not only that, but she sees him on the bridge. And Jordan, this is what got me. Okay. Fantastic Four save a bunch of people on the bridge because a fire truck goes crazy and a whole lot of stuff happens that we'll get into. But she sees him on the bridge. She does not even have enough respect, enough regard for him to give him his ring in person. She sits it down and walks away. And I just felt like that was disrespectful. And I didn't like that. Because what that says to me is, you know what? If something happened to her and she was horribly disfigured, she would want somebody to stay with her. She would want somebody to take care of her. And I didn't. And I look it. I know it happens. It is naive to think that it does not happen. But their love is clearly a superficial love, and there's no substance there. Because if there was, you're at least going to have a conversation. Even if your relationship changes, if you really love this person, you're not just going to kick them out of your life. You might talk to them. You might have to say, "Look, I can't look at you. It's going to take me a minute." But you're not going to do what she did. Like I did not like that, and I felt like, to me, she never loved him in the first place. She might have loved some things about him, but the person she didn't love. Okay? I've been married to my wife for 32 years. If my wife, I can't see myself having 2 o'clock conversations with anybody else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even if she couldn't walk, even if she could, like, I can't see myself having certain conversations about my kids with anybody else. I can't see myself having certain conversations about my parents with anybody else. Like, for her to do that, she never really loved them. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Anyway, I'm gonna shut up. I'm talking too much. Give me your thoughts on what happened with that. Just I want to hear your thoughts.
This might be the most heartbreakingly realistic thing that's happened in any Marvel movie, because I mean, there are situations where people like go through accidents, and or people get really sick, and their significant other just doesn't want to take care of them. I mean, there's horror stories with celebrities like that, and it's so heartbreaking that she won't even have a conversation with him. Like, what are you like? You just witnessed that he is the same old Ben, and like figuratively, like he's not literally like in the same sense. I mean, even literally, he's the same person. He's just disfigured, and like you don't even want to have a conversation with him. That's so screwed up. And Ben is, like I said, that Johnny is the main character of out of all four of them in the sequel and Rise of the Silver Surfer. Ben is the main character of this film. Even though everybody else, it's clearly a four. I mean, there are 5 main characters in this if you want to include Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
But the star is Michael Chiklis as Ben Grimm.
Definitely, without a doubt.
Like if I'm going to suggest this movie, even though I really like Johnny Storm, every time I watch this, I feel more and more closer to Michael Chiklis's performance as Ben Grimm, and it's to the point that like he's still my definitive Ben Grimm. He's still, as even though he's maybe not the most comic accurate, he is my definitive character analysis of Ben Grimm. Yeah. And I love that he's the heart and soul of this team. At the end of the day, if any of these people need a hug, need someone to talk to, I know that Michael Chiklis as Ben Grimm will be there for them.
Yeah.
And it sucks that some people just can't reciprocate that back to him. Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad that we got Alicia. I'm so glad we got Alicia in this movie, because I love them together. If we ever see Michael Chiklis back in Doomsday or in Secret Wars, if we ever see him, I want to see Alicia, because I love them together. Every time I see them, and I'm like, oh, I want to see more of them. They're so cute together, and I love like the comments that Johnny will say, like in Rise of Silver Surfer, where he's like, "How do you guys, And he's like, "That's none of your business."
That's such a Johnny thing to say, man. That is such a Johnny thing to say.
I love them. They're a dynamic duo that, like, it's so funny because when I think of the Fantastic Four, I think of that about the power couple of Reed and Sue, but with these two movies, I think about literally, Johnny says in the sequel, he's like, what are we going to be, the dynamic duo? Like, they literally are a dynamic duo of this film, and I like their interactions between each other more than I like any other interactions between anyone.
They're definitely brothers.
Mm-hmm.
That I mean, it's interesting because you think it's all about Reed and Sue, and to an extent it is, but there is a closeness there. They are brothers. And yeah, Johnny agitates him, but they are best friends. They really are. As a matter of fact, in a what's the comic where a nihilist comes from the negative zone and they're trying to fight him, and Johnny goes to the negative zone and closes the portal and ends up dying there, and Ben is just crushed. Ben is crushed because he lost his best friend. And there's a scene where I think Thor and the Hulk just agitate him and just let him fight and take all their rage out on him, because that's the only way he can get it out, right? But the point is, uh, Ben and Johnny are very close. This is an origin story, but they grow to be like brothers, literally like brothers. But what's interesting is, even on the worst day of his life, when he's sitting up on top of the bridge by himself and this guy wants to kill himself, and I'll be honest with you, 80% of folks would be like, hey, man, let me get out of your way. They're not going to say that. He's like, hey, buddy, look at me. It could always be worse. He's trying to help him. He's trying to help him on what is arguably, you know what I mean? You came back, you got this disfigurement, you lost your wife, you're heartbroken, you really don't know which way is up is down, but you're still trying to help people. That to me is a hero. And like you say, he is the rock that he is the rock of that family, right? He is. And I think Sue kind of holds them together. Not this, but I think Sue in the comics definitely holds them together. But he's the rock, man. So yeah, but let's talk about the bridge. So even though he's trying to save the guy, he does kind of cause the accident because the guy freaks out and is afraid of him. And so, the guy falls, Ben jumps down, stops the truck from hitting him, pulls him away from getting hit. And what thanks does he get? The guy runs and is like, because it's just fear, right? It's just fear took over. And everybody's looking at him. And then, of course, the fire truck stops because of all the traffic is backed up. And part of the, what do you call it? Not the carriage, but I guess whatever you call it. It's not a truck. So, I mean, it's a fire truck. Whatever. The back part of it, the rear, is about to fall off, right? Because he kind of bottlenecks because he's trying to stop. And the truck is falling off the bridge. And Ben, of course, uses all of his strength to pull it back up. Mr. Fantastic reaches down to grab one of the firemen that's falling. And we get to see the Fantastic Four manifest their powers and save folks. And it's their introduction to the world. And, they're amongst themselves trying to process what happened. And the fireman says, hey, man, you got to go out there and talk to these people. And he's like, no, we want to keep this private. And he's like, hey, man, that ship has sailed. Turn on the TV. And then Johnny's like, well, you guys stay here and figure it out. I'm about to go talk. And then they say to themselves, nah, we don't want Johnny talking for us. Let's go, right? Talk about that moment for you. Like, what's going through your mind as you see this unfold?
Up to this point, when I had first seen this movie, every superhero movie that I saw before this, it was more of heroes keeping their identity secret.
Yeah.
So this felt like the first time that I can remember a superhero or a group of superheroes coming out and being public about them, especially very early on in a movie. So it was immediate stardom for them. And I like it because it's something I had never seen before. And even to this day, we don't really see that all that much. The biggest one we all know is when and Tony said I am Iron Man at the beginning of the end of the first Iron Man movie. But it really showed you that these people are going to be celebrities on level of like because the trailer came out yesterday, I'm going to say it, on level of like Michael Jackson. Like this super stardom that not only are these people astronauts, not only are they some of the smartest people in the entire world, but they are now heroes that are saving people. And yeah, everybody's going to be flaunting all over them. So I love it. I love how they showcase everybody's powers. I mean, outside of Sue, I don't think that these movies did Sue all that well. I don't think she was written very well. And look, I love Jessica Alba. Jessica Alba is an amazing actress. I mean, this is peak Jessica Alba. And in my opinion, you look at a photo of her right now, I don't think she has aged in 20 years. I don't know what she looked like in 95, but I'm pretty sure she hasn't aged since then either. But like anyways, but like they had no idea how to write her. It's almost like they said, okay, hot actress playing female lead, she's got to get naked at some point. And I'm like, wait, what? Timeout, holding, penalty, offense, 5-yard penalty. And that's how she's written in these two movies, where like, all right, her powers are to get invisible. No, Sue can manipulate other things to be invisible. Right. She doesn't need to get naked in order for her to be completely invisible. She can make her clothing invisible. That's her thing. So it was like again, time period, this 2005. I'm not shocked that this happened. But yeah, and they make her so just like, I don't like her. They make me not like her because of multiple reasons. One, the way she treats, I understand why Mr. Fantastic and her are not together, because Mr. Fantastic is so into his work, and they want to be together, but she feels that he puts other priorities over her, which he does. But then there's just little stuff that she does, and I'm like, you're just mean now. Like, he's not even doing anything. Especially in the second one, it gets worse. Especially in the beginning of the film, where Mr. Fantastic for the first time in his life is having a good time at not even just at a club dancing, and she's like so disgusted. Yet she mentioned that she did Jello shots, with other guys at a strip club or something like that. Or I don't. We'll get to Rise of the Silver Surfer and those issues later. But they just write her so just not likable, and they make Michael Chiklis and Chris Evans so likable. And again, Mr. Fantastic. I mean, this is more sort of a give or take whether you like this Mr. Fantastic or not. I think he's okay. Again, first introduction to a big time Mr. Fantastic. Very hard to like say whether he was good or bad, but I mean, even since then, I mean, I would say Pedro Pascal has already topped him, but otherwise, there's not really much to talk about with this. But otherwise, I like how they displayed each of their powers, and I remember going into the scene thinking like, okay, how is Johnny going to display his powers on a bridge when he's on fire? And then they showcase like the explosion happening, and he's got to like hold a little girl, and there's fire surrounding him and the girl, and he's just kind of absorbing it into him so that the girl's protected, which I thought it was really nice. And obviously Ben is like just kind of like shielding people because there's police and shooting guns, and obviously the guns aren't going to work on him. Mr. Fantastic's reaching down and grabbing firefighters. I thought it was a really nice way of showcasing each of their powers, even though I don't think Invisible Woman was necessarily displayed in the greatest way of like the whole point. All right, this is frustrating. She gets naked to go invisible to sneak past the police. Yet how I always wondered this. How did Mr. Fantastic and the Human Torch get past police themselves? Because they both got past the police, but yet she had to get invisible in order.
Yeah.
2005 logic, people.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyways,
It's
yeah,
like they made her a mean girl.
yes,
It's
yeah,
it's like they're going with a trope, the mean girl
hmm
trope from high school. You know what I
hmm
mean? Um. So I mean, whatever. But
and like I was telling you before the stream, it's almost like, and again, I love Jessica Alba, awesome actress. Um, I mean, what was the movie I was thinking of with her? Every time I think about, um, what was it? I think, I mean, in Good Luck Chuck, she's hilarious. In The Eye, she's great. Even though The Eye is not written well, I still like her in it. She's in Little Fockers. Like, I really like Jessica Alba in other things, and she's also in Spy Kids for a little bit. But in this, I mean, this is the definitive role for me for her because as much as I love Marvel, and she's in this as the Invisible Woman, who is, I mean, she's the most motherly figure of any female Marvel character ever. I will stand by that. And I don't feel like this iteration of Sue Storm could even have kids.
she's got many rivers to cross.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like, I think she'd probably throw Franklin Richards like off a bridge.
Oh wow! You know what's funny is when he's telling her, you don't have, you've got to focus. You've got to learn how to control yourself
Mm.
and control your powers. And
Mhm.
he's like, so tell me, what were you going through when your powers were activated? And she was like, extreme anger and irritation. And he's like, oh, can you do that again? And she's like, I think I can. And she's looking
Mhm.
right at him, right?
Mhm.
That was funny.
Mhm.
Let's talk about Doom's descent, right? So, Doom's company fails. The board pulls out. They vote him out. He loses everything. He's pissed, and of course, he blames Reed Richards. But for me, it does mirror Norman Osborn, but this feels darker. And I don't know
Mhm.
if it feels darker because there's no Harry, like there's no son to counteract that with a,
I
you
think
know,
so.
you know what I mean. But it's
Yeah.
just when this film goes dark, it goes dark. Like it feels, it's almost like looking at Doom and looking at the Fantastic Four. It's like we're watching two different movies because
Mhm.
Doom is very like he loses everything, but he's just dark.
Mhm.
And there's no, and maybe it was because in Spider-Man Norman was kind of fighting with himself, like he was
Yeah.
kind of reluctant. Whereas Doom is all about, he's like, let's go. Let's go. Bring on the darkness.
Mhm.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Like he's like, bring it on. You know what I mean? At least it
Mhm.
feels that way to me, but he channels all of that rage, all of that angst, all of it is directed at Reed. And this is kind of where I felt like this didn't this didn't equate to Doom. Because the Doom that I know, although jealous of Reed, although very petty, would be more concerned with all consuming power. And he would attach himself to a bigger agenda than just, I'm just going to kill the Fantastic Four. That'd be a byproduct of it. You get what I'm saying? Whereas,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm just going to trick the thing into getting into this machine so he loses his power. The Doom that I know would have killed he would have killed him. He would not have left Ben the opportunity to go back in that. Or if he doesn't kill him, he destroys the machine.
Right.
But Ben definitely is not coming back. Not through that machine. Doom would have thought that through. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to me, I just, again, for me, and I'm not trying to dance in religion because I know you feel about this movie the way I would feel about G-Force, which is way before your time. But I love that show. And if anybody said anything bad about Mark, Jason, Princess, Keops, or Tiny, we're gonna fight, Jordan. Okay? I'm just letting you know. If anybody says anything bad about them, we're gonna fight. So I get it. I get it. But just, to me, that's kind of where, and maybe I've gotten spoiled. You know what I mean? Maybe I've gotten spoiled. Maybe I, but just looking back on this, it kind of felt like, I don't want to call him short-sighted, but and then looking back, like you say, it's 2005. They're trying to make him relatable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The average audience in 2005 probably isn't going to get behind his cosmic agenda. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. But let's talk about some character arcs here. So Reed learns leadership through failure, but I think Reed learns that there's a world outside of books.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a world outside of work, and sometimes you got to take a chance. You can't just spend your life calculating. You can't. To me, he's the perfect example of paralysis from analysis. He was like, well, we were just trying to move in together, and he was like, well, the variables, there were so many variables, and I'm like, oh my God, Jesus Christ, right? So to me, his character arc is, he has to learn when to put the calculator down, when to put work down, and when to have real life. And I would say that's true of comic book Read. I would say that's, they're similar there. Sue is kind of mean, right? And she does that thing that all women do that pisses me off. She was like, they're talking, and he was like, well, I just thought you wanted, somebody to be a stronger, or, more upstanding, or whatever he says. And then he squares his jawline with his powers, and she laughs, and she was like, I did Read, but I wanted you to be that man. And he was like, well, why didn't you tell me? And she was like, well, it kind of defeated the purpose. And I'm like, what kind of shit is that to say? I can't read your mind like that. And that is every woman. My wife would probably say some shit like that. And I hate that, because I'm not a mind reader, right? I'm not a mind reader. God damn it. I know. That just agitated me, George. That agitated. I'm like, what do you mean? It just kind of defeated. What do you mean it defeated the point? It's been 2 years. We could have been together having vacations, but no, it pissed me off. But whatever. I don't know. Whatever. But that's the most whatever. Johnny Storm grows from show off to hero. I feel like Ben has the greatest arc here. I feel like, like you say, he was the star of the show. I feel like Ben has the greatest arc because he goes from loving protector best friend to outcast to what are you made of to why are you doing this to questioning his friendship with Reed to, and we really got to think about this, making the ultimate sacrifice and going back in that machine and turning back in the thing to go protect Reed. That's a real friend, because a lot of people wouldn't do that, Jordan. This is the real world, right? You got to walk around like this. People scared of you, running from you, looking at you, and you get a chance to be normal. A lot of people would just be like, "Hey, Reed, I'm sorry, man. Hope it works out." These two figures. So it really shows the character of Ben. The fact that he's willing to put it all on the line again to go and save his friend without a thought. You know what I mean? And then of course Doom just goes into full dark mode. Like Doom to me was again, there's nothing he is not a reluctant villain. I think Doom just becomes who he was all along. I think his powers just amplified his darkness, right? But give me your thoughts on these character arcs. What you know? Let's talk about it. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, Ben is clear. Ben clearly has the biggest character arc. Like I said, he's in my opinion, the main character of the main characters in this film.
Yep.
I mean, he goes from bodyguard to someone that like nobody wants to even look at, and to like to being okay with how he looks. And I love his character arc in this so much, because a lot of movies that have a character who becomes like a monster, they feel like nobody's going to truly appreciate them, and there are going to be people who aren't going to appreciate them, but those aren't your true friends and family, and that's something that clearly, even though they're not written as though they're like off put by his look, but just the way that Mr. Fantastic, Sue Storm, and Johnny Storm, they all view him, they don't view him any differently.
Right.
And I don't think that was done on purpose. I think that's just it was 2005, but I like how they didn't care how he looked.
Right.
That is still their best friend.
Right.
So I love Ben's character arc so much, and yeah, I would say Doctor Doom probably is the best character arc next. It's not really an arc, but it's more like you said, it's displaying something that was already known, but now it's more physically known.
Yeah.
Like he always wanted power, and he got literal power. So, I mean, it like you said, I think it's because between him and Norman Osborn and like their comparison, Norman had the better half, which was connected to Harry. Harry is what kept Norman still there.
Right.
And it's funny because in Spider-Man No Way Home, you don't have Harry, so you see more of the Goblin really taking over.
Yeah.
And that's something I truly appreciate about that film. And with this, it's like there's nobody. He has no one. And whether that's his choice or not, he has nobody. And that's what makes him so much darker. I wouldn't say scarier, I would say darker. But it's very interesting. And then I think, I mean, I don't think Johnny goes on much of a character arc, if I'm being quite honest.
He really does.
His character arc is in Rise of the Silver Surfer. He has the best character arc in that movie. And over the course of 2 films, it really, really peaks in that movie. And by the end of that film. So this movie is more of just, I don't even know with him. I would probably say he's the worst character arc of all of them.
Yeah.
But Sue's an odd one, because she feels invisible, but I'm trying to figure out what she actually does to make herself known, because I feel like she does, but it's not as like as well thought out as like, I don't know. Like I guess she communicates with Reed a little bit more. That's really it. And to make herself more well known. I don't think there's like a huge character arc with her. Again, I don't think she was written very well. That's the problem with the writers. And then Mr. Fantastic, I mean, he has a pretty stereotypical character arc. I mean, he starts off with, I mean, he's single and going to his like rival for help to go and fund a project, um, and he finally learns that not all problems can be solved with a pen and paper.
Mm-hmm.
And you can put that on a T-shirt, sell that. That'll be Jalen Hurts' next quote for next week. Um, so, but I don't think. I mean, his character arc's just a pretty standard one. I mean, the arcs in this movie. That's a problem with a team. That not all team-oriented movies can have an equal character arc. Like
That's true.
In Fantastic Four First Steps, they do a fantastic, pun intended, job of getting each character to have their own unique character arc.
Their own arc, yeah.
So with this movie and that other movie that came out 10 years later, even that movie doesn't have. You know what? That movie doesn't have any character arcs for anyone except for one person, and that was Mr. Fantastic in that movie. So with this movie,
the only Marvel movie I do not own, and I refuse to buy it.
You know, one of these days we're gonna have to review that. One of these days, one of these days we'll do it.
No, we don't.
It's okay. It's
I will
all right. It'll be fine.
I'm letting you. I will be absent that day.
If we watch the Doomsday trailer and I see one character from that movie in it, then we're gonna have to modify our schedule. Which we should be getting the trailer in about a month and a half for Avengers Doomsday. So
pray to God we don't see any character from that movie.
But yeah, character arcs. Yeah, Ben Grimm top. Doom's probably next. Reed and Sue and fall in that next category, and then Johnny definitely has the worst character arc of this film.
That's fair.
Also, just another quote from Johnny Storm in this movie when Ben crushes his own action figure, and Johnny's like, "What do you have against capitalism?"
I know, right? I know. It's clobbering time. It's clobbering time. Oh my God! Talk about not reading the room. That's the other thing about Johnny. Does not read the room when it comes to bed. He is tone deaf. He is tone deaf. Oh my God, he is tone deaf. Oh man. Let's talk about some themes. So, family and acceptance and science and consequences, identity and fame and transformation. I agree with all of that. I definitely think that Ben's arc is self-acceptance and self-love. As a matter of fact, he says to Johnny, he says to Reed, because Reed's like, "Hey, I can work on this," and he was like, "There's nothing wrong with me. I'm okay the way I am." And you see Alicia, and you automatically have to assume that okay, she has a lot to do with that because she's helping him through his transition. And I agree. I think they make a great couple. I really do. But yeah, that is a self-acceptance is a big theme of this. And then absolute power corrupts absolutely because Doom doesn't think this stuff through, right? Like he just okay, I've gotten these powers, I've tricked Ben into doing this. Let me go and just attack them now. If he'd have just waited a while, I think he'd have been better. Not that I'm rooting for him, but you go and attack them. You don't even do the work to find out if they've all been destroyed. Like you just kind of assume and get caught out there. And they did kind of use a bit of foreshadowing, like when he says to Reed, chemistry lesson. Do you know what happens to rubber when it gets cool or whatever? And then at the end, he says, do you know what happens to metal when it's heated up and all of a sudden you cool it rather quickly or something like that? And he freezes them right there. And I thought that was cool. And that was a shout out to an X-Men comic to where Colossus, and I forget who it was. I think it was Pyro. Pyro heated him up and somebody cooled him at the same time. And they left him. This was a comic book in the late 80s, early 90s. But they left him in this state like how Doom was for like 9 episodes. Like he couldn't move. He was alive, but he was like in this frozen state. I'll never forget that. That was because it's two comics I remember like vividly where somebody has just done the most foul thing. It was that, and they're both X-Men comics, by the way. Because X-Men comics, I don't care what X-Men was not for kids. X-Men was never for kids. If you read that, if you really read that and understood what was going on, that ain't for kids. But they did that to him, and then the one where I forgot why Magneto got so mad with Wolverine, but he liquefied his bones and sucked all the animanium out of him and just left him like in this just gel-like state. And it pissed off Xavier so bad that he took his mind. I've never seen Xavier that mad. I've never seen Xavier got so mad because this is his friend. But he was like, you know what? Take one of mine, watch this. Those are the two worst that I've seen. And I think that scene was a callback to that comic book with Colossus. They never said it, but it just feels like that was where that source material came from. You get what I'm saying? Because that's exactly what they did to him. Anyway, whatever. Oh boy, let's get into when Ben runs up on Sue and Reed after they come back from taking a break. And Ben's like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be finding me a cure and da 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 da. And you know what? You're on your own. And he and Ben get into it or whatever. And Doom basically manipulated Ben. And so he goes, Ben goes to him and you can make me normal. And he does, but it's kind of like going to the devil. Yeah, but there's always a price that you don't know that you're going to pay. And what you pay is going to be so much more than what you get. Right? That to me was kind of like when you make a deal with the devil, that's kind of what happened. Give me your thoughts on what's going on in this scene.
This scene, every time I watch it, I'm like, this movie does such a great job of having all these different characters interacting with one another. I mean, I would say the only characters that don't have too much of an interaction with one another are really Johnny and Doctor Doom. That's the only interaction that just doesn't happen. I mean, we see people will say Sue and Ben don't have much engagement, but the one scene that makes it clear is like when the paparazzi surrounding Ben and Sue and Sue's trying to like talk to Ben and calm him down and stuff like that. But I like this scene, seeing Ben interact with Doom. I'm just like, this is it's so interesting to see. And yeah, he's making a deal with the devil basically to try and because he doesn't want to look like this. And I know none of if this were any of the Fantastic Four members going to Doom, I'm sure none of them would suspect what Doom's plans are. Or like, because Doom has not made that very blatantly clear. So, I mean, why wouldn't you do it? I mean, us as the audience, we know why we wouldn't do it, but I don't know why anyone else wouldn't do it in this movie. So, and they're in a diner. Like, it's just, that's something that we don't see in current Marvel movies anymore is these heroes being normal people. Like going to diners, going out and doing normal things. And like the end credit scene in the first Avengers movie where they're all getting shawarma. Yeah. Like it's so like it, and it's funny looking at that because we're all like, okay, like what? Because some people are like, oh, that scene's stupid. No, it's real world. These people get hungry. They just beat all these aliens and saved the planet.
Yeah.
They just want some food.
They'd be hungry as hell.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
give me your funniest Avengers scene out of all
in,
four.
out of all 4 movies, the funniest.
I know mine. Give me yours.
Um. Oh, there's so many that I don't know if there's a funniest one.
Let
Like
me.
the one that sticks out to me, like in the first one, is like where they're all in the helicarrier um and Thor's talking about Loki, and he's like, "How dare you speak ill of my brother?"
My
And
brother.
and Black Widow's like, "He killed 900 people in 3 days," and he's like, "He was adopted." Um, like, like okay,
And he did it
then
so quick. Like that
and
pivot was so
in
quick.
the same scene, there's someone makes Nick Fury makes a joke, and then I use this meme all the time, this GIF, and Captain America's like, I understood that reference, and you
Yeah.
see Tony in the background go, oh.
Oh god. Oh, god.
But like in Age of Ultron, this is one of the funniest scenes when at the end of the film when Quicksilver picks up Wanda and runs off and says, "Keep up, old man," and then Hawkeye draws his bow.
Nobody would know.
He's like nobody would know.
Nobody would
He's
know.
oh, I miss him already.
Nobody would
It's
know.
such a great scene.
Nobody would
And
know. You know
I
what
don't
my
think
favorite one is? My
what.
favorite one is from Ultron when they find out that Banner and Tony created Ultron, and
Mhm.
Tony just starts laughing, and Banner's like, no, 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 not right now, and he's like, it's kind of funny, no, isn't it? It's kind of and he's like, no, 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 do that, and he's like, don't tell him what? Don't tell him that we created a murder bot, and he's like, you just roll over and show him your
Show your
underbelly.
belly.
Like, oh my god, that was funny. He's like, it is criminal that you guys don't see what this is about. This is the end game. When these dudes come back, and ultimately they will, let's make sure they just can't roll up to the club and get in. And he's 100% right. But what's funny about it is that Tony is audacious
Mhm.
in his intentions, and it's just funny because he's like, Banner's like, no, no, do not the time, not the time, and because they're all pissed, right? Because they're
Mhm.
all like, we know you guys did this shit, we know you did it, okay, and now we got to go out here and take on this murder bot, and it's all because you were trying to create some protection, and it's interesting because in Endgame, when Iron Man comes back and he has that conversation with Cap, he's like, I tried to tell you, and you wouldn't believe me, and I'm done with you. And then he passes out. But anyway, I just thought
Oh,
I love
I
that scene.
will say another funny one in Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron has a lot of underrated funny ones. There's two. In the literally the first line of the movie is when Cap says shit, and then or
Yeah.
Iron Man says shit, and Cap's like language. I
Language.
think about that all the time. And
Language.
then at the end of the movie, when Thor, Cap, and Tony are all walking down a hallway, and it seems like they're having like a serious conversation, and they're talking about the hammer being put into an elevator, and if the elevator lifts it up, the elevator's not worthy because it's
Worthy,
not a
right.
living thing. So
Right.
Vision's technically like an elevator, and I remember like Tony's like, well, if you put the elevator in a hammer, and then Cap's like, elevator's not worthy. It's such a they're all acting so serious in that moment, and I'm like, this is so great. And when
Yeah.
I think about the MCU, I think about scenes like that
Yeah.
because that is something we couldn't have gotten in 2005.
Right. Right.
That like because we at that point, I mean, it was 2014, where 6 years with Iron Man, we're 4 or 5 years with Cap, we're 4 or 5 years with Thor. Like, we already know and love these characters, and
Right.
they're interacting on stupid stuff that
Mm.
we would that you and I have conversations about, that our neighbors have conversations about. It's the dumbest things, but it makes them so relatable, and
Yes.
why we love
Yes.
them so much.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love scenes like that.
And that's why I missed them. Like even going back to Ultron, when they're trying to they get drunk and they're trying to pick up his hammer,
Yes,
and
yes, I
Tony
love
says
that
the
scene.
first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make Prima Nocta the law or whatever, and he tries to pick it up, and then he goes and gets War Machine. He's like, "Are you trying? I'm trying," and they're getting it up, and then Cap goes to pick it up, and he lifts it up just a little bit, and that is such great
Thor's
foreshadowing.
face. Thor's face in that scene,
Yes.
I bust
Yes.
out laughing every time
Yes.
because he looks so, and even his reaction after when Cap's like this and he's like like he's like, oh yeah, I almost stopped being the god of thunder and gave some human those same powers. Like he was so worried in that, he was so stressed out in that one split second.
Let me tell you something. That's the one thing that I love about that entire series is that sometimes the foreshadowing was not for that movie,
Mm-hmm.
right? It
Yeah.
might be 2 or 3 or 10 movies down the line, but they're laying the groundwork because there we all see Cap lifted up just a little bit, right? We all saw
Mm-hmm.
that. And Thor's like, phew. But then in Endgame, when Cap lifts that hammer, let me tell you something, man. The last 45 minutes of that movie may have been some of the greatest scenes I've ever seen. I mean, it's well chronicled. You know my favorite scene when Cap says, "I can do this all day," and uh, golly, Falcon says, "On your left." But
Mm-hmm.
before that, when he picks up that hammer,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my! Do you remember what the theater was like?
I worked the movie theater when I
Oh
saw
my
that.
God! Oh my God!
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when he picked up that hammer,
Mm-hmm.
and then the combos that he did with the shield and the hammer, and hey man, all I
Thor
can
hasn't
say,
even done some of the stuff he's done with
no
the
man,
hammer.
that was really well done. That was really
Mm-hmm.
well done. But anyway, bro, I could talk about Avengers all day. We got to get back to this. Let's get to the final battle. I really felt like they did a great job of combining their powers and using them together.
Yes.
I think I can say this is one of the best team movies where they did that, where everybody
Mm-hmm.
used their powers and they defeated Doom so quick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was real quick. But that to me, that's who the Fantastic Four is.
Yep.
Like you can roll up on them if you want to, but the way they did Doom is the way they do most villains. Like and look, Doom and Fantastic Four go after each other because the Fantastic Four is worthy of taking on Doom. Make no mistake about it. Doom is nobody to play with. Doom is nobody to play with. Okay? Doom rules his own kingdom for a reason. He's nobody to play with. But the Fantastic Four are nobody to play with. And what I liked about this scene is that they all came together in that moment. Hey, you do this, you do this, you do this, and bam. And they took him out within, I don't even think it was 10 minutes. Took him out. Took him out. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that. And I think, in my humble opinion, that was comic book accurate. Because that is exactly what they would have done. But give me your thoughts on the final scene, the battle, the way they get rid of Doom. Give me your thoughts on that.
I mean, to this point, I mean, we don't have many team movies. I think the X-Men are the only team movies that we've reviewed so far, outside of the other that came out before this movie.
Yep.
And this is the best finale for a team movie. Just because everybody's working together. Without one of them, they don't accomplish their main goal.
Right.
They like everybody is important that is what makes a good team movie. This ending, in my opinion, laid the foundation for a movie like The Avengers, in how you display everybody being important for a final battle. Every single character needs to have some importance, because if they don't, then what's the point of them being in the team
Right.
oriented movie?
Correct.
So
Correct.
I love it. I love when like we literally see a payoff in this movie where towards the beginning of the movie, Johnny was going supernova, and uh, Mr. Fantastic was like supernova is bad, like you can't do that, you'll be hotter than the sun, and and he is like, Johnny, supernova. He's like, I thought we agreed that was bad. He's like, now, and he's like, all
Let's
right,
do it already.
and he goes supernova. Um, Invisible Woman has her nose bleed and protects Johnny in that barrier. Um, and on top of that, you see Reed like shooting the water for the fire extinguisher, or in a way to angle it at Doom. And then Ben's throwing things. He's breaking the fire
Fire
hydrant,
hydrant. Yeah.
and like when Ben looks at the whole everything going down, he's like, "Flame on, kid!" Like
Yeah.
I love this ending so much. It's such a great ending, and yeah, like what you said about like some of the science references. That's how I learned about a lot of science from this movie. Was and I enjoy science a lot, and I learned. I mean, a lot of people learn like chemistry classes or biology classes, mostly chemistry classes, is like how superheating and supercooling work. But I learned it from this movie,
Mhm.
and that like if you super cool rubber, it will no longer stretch. You can break it, and
Mhm.
when if you super cool something that is very hot, it'll do that. Exactly what happens. It will stiffen and freeze. So um, I just love the way that this movie ends, and they don't even kill off Doom. They leave it open ended
Mhm.
for a sequel. And I remember when I got done this movie. This was the first. I would say this was the first movie that I remember going to the theaters watching, seeing how the movie ended, seeing that I wouldn't. It wasn't even an end credit scene and mid. Actually, this was my first ever mid credit scene. Any sort of post like
Mhm.
in the credit scene I've ever seen in my entire life,
Mhm.
and because I remember I was going down the steps to leave, and it really quickly flashes to the boat
Doom.
and him
Yeah.
and Doom's face, and I was like, oh, they're hinting at like a sequel. It's the
Mhm.
first time I ever was like, wait, there could be another movie after this.
Mhm.
And I got so excited. This movie probably started that like whole interconnected universes thing for me,
Mhm.
and that like we could get other sequels and stuff like that. And I yeah, it's this movie is always gonna have a special place in my heart. Even though I do have Fantastic Four First Steps ahead of this movie. I think overall it is just a better film than this. I mean, in every sense of the way. But I this movie laid the foundation for everything that I love doing in terms of Marvel.
Okay. Let's talk about just juxtaposition. The comics, they were more explorers and philosophers, and they were.
Mhm.
They were the first family, but Reed is all about basically he's very philanthropic. He's trying to find a cure for everything. He is one of the smartest people on the earth, if not in Marvel's 616 Earth. You could argue him, Tony Stark, Black Panther. I think Reed is probably considered the smartest. If you
I think Reed is the smartest. Yeah.
I think Reed is considered the smartest. 2005 Flashy Powers. They did simplify Doom. They did.
Mm-hmm.
2025 retro 60s tone. Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby cast. Expected to tie into Avengers Doomsday. And again, I think you're right. I think 2005 was 2005, and there was really no MCU at that point, and so you kind of have to grade it on a curve. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I really did like this 2025 Fantastic Four because it really got back to their roots.
Mm-hmm.
I really did like that. So anyway, anything we left out?
Um, well, I will say, now some people might ask, why did we review this movie? Well, if you watch Deadpool and Wolverine, very clearly Chris Evans shows up as the Human Torch. And if you watch that movie and you didn't understand why Chris Evans was the Human Torch in that movie, you'd have to go back and watch this movie or Rise of the Silver Surfer. And it may, what we don't know, and with a lot of variants in Deadpool and Wolverine and other movies, we don't know if that's specifically this Chris Evans, this
No,
Human
we do
Torch.
not. That is
We
a
do. It
great
could be.
point.
It could not be. Or it
That's
could
a great
be
point.
one that's from like a parallel universe to this,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
everything's the same except like Pepsi's logo's red and Coke's logo's blue, or the
Right.
Beatles don't exist. Like
Right.
it could be any one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something very small, and that's one thing. A lot of That's my science in me, because a lot of people who like Marvel, they think parallel universes mean a major change, but it could be the smallest of changes
Right.
in a parallel universe. I mean,
Right.
if you study multiverse theory, I've studied multiverse theory before we even got into the multiverse saga. And with parallel universes, I mean, it literally could be the smallest of changes.
Mm.
Another movie that came out in 2019, one of my favorite years for a film. A movie that is one of my favorite and most underappreciated films that I wish more people got to watch, was the movie Yesterday, which follows a guy who gets into a bike accident as all the power in the entire world shuts off, and he wakes up the next day without two of his front teeth because of getting into the accident. And he's a musician, and the Beatles are not a thing. The Beatles were never a thing. He remembers everything about the Beatles, but nobody else has any idea what he's talking about. And so he recreates all of the Beatles' greatest hits. And it is an amazing. I love that movie, and it's a parallel universe. In that the only change. I mean, there was other changes by the end of the film, but the only major change was the Beatles don't exist. So it leads to other things not happening.
Right.
And with could this have been the same Chris Evans? Possibly. Could it have not been? Could be possible. One note is that the costume worn in Deadpool and Wolverine, the 4 logo is over the center, like a comic accurate Fantastic Four. But as you can see with the Mr. Fantastic
It's up here.
suit, it's over on his left side.
Yeah.
So it could be they wanted to get new suits. Who knows? I mean, we saw in Rise of the Silver Surfer that he looked like a Canadian Football League uniform with all the ads on his uniform. So like anything could happen. But yeah, that's why we ended up doing this movie. That's why we're going to do Rise of the Silver Surfer. And during our Rise of the Silver Surfer review, I think I'm going to touch base on the potential for a third movie, because every single one of these actors was signed on for a third movie, and it was supposed to tie in to a Marvel cinematic event that ended up not happening because Marvel ended up going with the MCU. And it was supposed to tie in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, the X-Men, and I think the Inhumans.
Oh God.
So it was and I have read some things about this, and I'm like, this sounds actually really good and really dark. Like it sounded like the darkest thing Marvel would have put out in the 2000s.
Hmm. Do you think it could still happen? They are talking about a Spider-Man 3 with wait, a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire, are they not?
No, it's that's always ever since No Way Home came out. That's always been floated. You theoretically could do a fourth one now. You could do a third, The Amazing Spider-Man. And my own opinion, if you're going to do one, you're going to also do the other. Because I think I'm okay with Tobey Maguire not getting a fourth film. And even though I love him and I would love a fourth film,
Mhm.
and if if that film, I mean, that film probably wouldn't come out for 4 years, 5 years, but like if I got to experience a fourth and fifth film, like 25 years after I got to watch Spider-Man 2 in the theaters, I would, I, I don't think I would be happier. But we need the Amazing Spider-Man 2 or 3 with Andrew Garfield. He deserves that. He deserves to go out with a third film that rectifies all the wrongs that were done to him and from Sony and to all of the cast members. He deserves it. And even though I like Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire much more than I like Andrew Garfield,
Mhm.
I think he deserves to go out on top with something better than what he deserved with that
That's
second film.
fair. That's fair. And I didn't realize Tobey Maguire is 50. Tobey Maguire's like near
Yeah,
my age. I didn't realize that. Damn.
yeah. He's still playing a teenager.
Shit. No, but you know what? That's why it works in
Hmm.
was it No Way Home where they were
Yeah.
all three? Yeah, that's why it
Yep.
worked in No Way Home. Because you literally have Spider-Man at different stages of his life.
Yep.
You really do.
Yeah.
So, and I think they're gonna all be back for Doom. I think.
I don't know if they're going to be back for Doomsday. I'll bet money they're back for Secret Wars, but
Secret
I
Wars.
don't know if they'll be back for Doomsday.
Okay. Yeah.
And let me get this. Let me put this out for Doomsday. And this will be like my prediction for when the trailer comes out. Because my prediction is that at least 80% of the heroes that we see in Doomsday will die, and permanently. I'm not talking they'll be resurrected like in Endgame. I'm talking we will never see them ever again.
Damn.
That's my prediction. That Doom, and that's how you get it through people's heads how crazy evil this Doom is that he and I know last week we were talking about like a Tom Holland Spider-Man could die. If there's let me just say, um, I'm pretty sure Tom Holland is signed on for another trilogy of
Okay.
Spider-Man films. So if there's one character out of all of Marvel
That's gonna
that
live.
that is going to live, it
It's
will be
Tom
Tom
Holland.
Holland as Spider-Man. It
Okay.
may not be it may not be Sam, it may not be Bucky, it may not be Thor, which I'm gonna
Hmm.
be honest, I think it's time with Thor. I think we could kill off Thor.
I think
As
Thor's
much
done anyway. I
Yeah.
think didn't he get replaced?
No.
Okay.
No.
You
Like
sure?
I'm sure. Like Hemsworth, I know Chris Hemsworth came out and said he's actually suffering from early stages of what was it? Parkinson's. Not Parkinson's.
MS.
No. I forget what it was. Was it dementia? Chris
Oh
Hemsworth,
God, I hope not.
early stages of Alzheimer's. He
Oh,
has
serious?
early stages of Alzheimer's. Yeah.
Oh
So
God.
ever since I heard that, I think that's honestly why he's done a lot of the Disney Plus specials where he's going all around the world visiting all these different types of crazy things. And I'm like, good for him. Like I love Chris Hemsworth so much. I think
Yeah.
he's an awesome actor. He's just an awesome dude. He's an awesome dad. Every time I see him with his kids, I'm like, this dude's so cool. Like, I want Chris Hemsworth to be my dad. Like, he just seems like an awesome dude. But I think maybe not even kill him off, but like go out sort of the way that Odin went out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with that. Like,
Yeah.
if Loki goes out and he goes out and they both go out into the sunset like that, I'm okay with it. But otherwise, yeah, every single character could die. And that will lead to the inevitable reboot, which I wouldn't be shocked if like all these X-Men characters that we see end up dying, because you notice they never mentioned Halle Berry. You notice they didn't mention Hugh Jackman. It's because they could end up dying.
Yeah, they could.
So, like, and like all these characters we see, Brie Larson. I mean, you could kill her off. I mean, I've already heard rumors that they're gonna try and look for a different actress to play Captain Marvel, which I think that's what they're gonna do with every single character. I think we're gonna get a full-on reboot with some characters reprising their roles. One, and while we're at it, I'm gonna say the one person that I want to play one specific character, and I will defend this person the entire time. So obviously Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love Chadwick Boseman. I loved him well before Black Panther. I loved him in 42. Yeah. Like every time in fact, I haven't watched 42 since he died, and I watched that movie on repeat. Yeah. Well, but I have not been able to watch that movie since he died. And I can barely even watch Black Panther anymore. Yeah. Because since then. Yeah. But David Johnson, who is in The Long Walk, he's also in Alien Romulus. Mm-hmm. I am going to advocate the crap out of this guy to be the next T'Challa. Or I know they introduced in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which you can very easily just age him up in Secret Wars or Doomsday and be like, all right, David Johnson, you're going to be T'Challa Jr. basically. And that can be our Black Panther. That would also be, I think, a great tribute and a great passing the torch to the next Black Panther. But this guy and everything that I watch just has this swagger to him, this charisma, the same thing that I felt with Chadwick Boseman. Every time I watched him behind the scenes, like I remember when Civil War was being introduced and I saw him walk on the stage and I heard he was going to be Black Panther for the first time. Like I was just like, this dude's going to kill this role. He's going to be awesome in it. I mean, Chadwick Boseman was one of my favorite actors of all time. So this guy can do that. And I'm very worried about that role in particular. I'm very worried when it comes to roles which are following up an actor or actress who died. Like I was very worried after Heath Ledger that whoever the next Joker was, obviously we got a terrible one, so it was kind of hard. So it's just really hard. Like I truly appreciate Black Panther Wakanda Forever for what they were able to accomplish with everything that they went through with that. Mm-hmm. Like in my opinion, that is the best work behind the scenes for a movie that I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. It's because I don't know how you could move forward. Yeah. But physically and emotionally. Emotionally, yeah. Like these people looked at, like, I saw when Ironheart came out, I saw video of the girl who plays Riri. She was auditioning to play Shuri for Black Panther. And there was behind the scenes footage. That's how she ended up becoming Ironheart and remembered for Ironheart. She was auditioning with Chadwick Boseman reading lines.
Yeah.
and there's video of it, and it's just it's I don't like, I just don't know how, like, you get so attached, like, even though these people are your work buddies,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
these people, you have blood, sweat, and tears with these people every single day. That's why, again, that's why I don't give 0 out of 10s for any film, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, these people are working, and these people, there are people that are trying to make the best of some terrible situations, and the, I just don't know how you get through that movie. And
Yeah.
they did such. I can't wait for
They
when we
really
go
did.
back and review that
I'm
movie.
gonna be honest. When I watched that, it was emotional for me. It was.
It's like I
It,
went to a funeral.
yeah, it was emotional for me because, and you couldn't help it. I mean, and the thing that they did that was great about, they didn't hide from it. They didn't hide from it.
Yeah.
They kind of, look, we all got to go through it.
Hmm.
Let's go. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I thought, to your point, they did as best a job as they could of just explaining and taking us on that journey and that transition.
My
Uh,
hot take is it's better than Black Panther, than the first one. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that. There is some there that movie teaches people about loss in a way that I just I don't think I've watched a movie that is like that.
yeah,
And I think it hits you in a way that Infinity War and Endgame will never hit,
yeah,
because we all know the behind the scenes stuff.
yeah.
We like
That's true.
it
That's true.
it
That's true.
punches you square in the face at the beginning of the movie,
Mm,
because I mean, I remember sitting in the theaters, because I bawled my eyes out watching that movie, because I was in college and I was going to see it by myself, and I was sitting in the theater, and it opens up with that scene, and then you see the
yeah,
Marvel logo
yeah.
with Chadwick Boseman everywhere, and the Marvel
Everywhere.
logo.
Yeah, yeah.
No sound, no music. You are
Perfect.
sitting in
That
a
was
dead,
perfect.
silent theater,
That was
and
perfect.
I hear all these sniffles. The woman in 3 rows in front of me is
Yeah,
bawling her eyes out. It is the saddest moment I've ever had in a theater in my entire life.
yeah.
And I don't think I'll ever be able to experience that ever again.
Yeah, that was I think they did a great job of that. I think they did a great job. That for me, and Creed 2. Was it Creed 2? No, Creed 1, where Rocky goes to see his son.
Hmm.
And remember, in
Yeah.
Rocky 6 or whatever, they had a falling out
Yep.
where he's, that's what win it is, and you know what I mean? And that's what losers do, and that ain't you. And he gives him this
Hmm.
great monologue. But it had been years, and he opens the door and he looks at his son and he's like, he looks like your mom. And he does.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I gotta be honest, the waterworks just started because it reminded me. It reminded me of my family. It reminded me of I think my dad had died or at that time, but I just thought the way that they did that scene was so organic. That was such a good film. And I think, to me, that is, I agree. I think Black Panther was better because you know the situation, but it was done with taste, it was done with tactfulness, but they didn't beat you over the head with it. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's like,
Yep.
okay, it happened, let's go. Here's what's gonna happen. Now we gotta move on. And
Hmm.
what I thought was great about that film was they included Submariner, and Submariner and Black Panther hate each other.
Hmm.
Hate each. I thought it was great. A lot of people don't
Hmm.
know that. Because Submariner, you could almost classify him as an anti-hero. He's not always a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's not. He is. Submariner is all about his people. And where Black Panther will not do certain things, Namor most definitely will. Now, they both kill when it comes to their people. Woe be the soul who goes to Atlantis or Wakanda and hurts one of their citizens, because you're going to die.
Hmm.
Comic book version, you're going. It's not even a question. but Namor will align himself with some nefarious characters to further his agenda. Where Black Panther, but anyway, I agree with you. I thought that was great. I thought the way they did that was great. I would say they were both great. I don't want to
They were
choose
both
one
great.
over the other. But
I'm
but
pretty
but
sure I have the same score with both of them. I just
yeah,
have one slightly over.
I can understand the sentiment. Let's
Mhm.
get to the criticism on this one. So it was fun. There were some, but Johnny to me was just hilarious. I forgot how
Mhm.
funny his one-liners were
Mhm.
great. You know what I mean? The whole "Where are your ears?" And it's funny because he said it, and I'm like, damn, he doesn't have ears. Like I didn't even think about
Mhm.
it until Johnny like said it. The, this Doctor Doom version was shallow. I'll give him that.
Mhm.
The CGI, I'm not gonna say it was weak. Like I
It was
mean,
okay.
it's not today's standard, but I'm not
Mm.
gonna say it was weak. Awkward dialogue, not really.
The dialogue was fine.
I don't think there was anything wrong with it. Jessica Alba miscast.
Yeah.
Now you agree with that?
I don't
Um,
know. I don't think she was I a part of me says she wasn't miscast. A part of me is that the writing team wrote her awful.
right.
And I know a lot of people say Jessica Alba was miscast, and a lot of people point the fact that like she had to have her hair dyed and stuff like that. And I'm just like, honestly, they didn't need to do that with her.
Right.
Like with sometimes you don't need to go up and like you don't need to go so comic accurate to where you're doing like a bunch of stuff to make Jessica Alba not look like Jessica Alba.
Mhm.
Like you didn't need to do that. Um, and I don't think she was miscast. I think she was poorly treated by the studio and the writing team.
Right. Right. And I can agree with that. You have to be able to. Let me just say this: everybody can't write women.
Mhm.
Everybody cannot write because there's what a woman would do, and there's what a man would think a woman would do, and it's a skill to be able to write women accurately. And some people can't see past certain things, and we won't get into that, but I just think it was that. I mean, you could argue the same thing with Halle Berry and Storm. You could argue the same thing with Captain Marvel and Brie Larson. Like some people just don't write women well, you know, and we'll leave it at that. I'm not gonna. Uh, Chris Evans and Michael Chiklis definitely shine.
Yes.
Um, Budget was $100 million. Box office made 333 million, which is probably why I got a sequel.
Hmm.
Um, Director was Tim Story. Producers was Avi Arad, Bern Etchinger, Ralph Winter. Writers were Michael France and Mark Frost. The studio was 20th Century Fox. 10 little known facts about this movie. And by the way, what's up, Island Mike? You dropped a hello. What's up, Island Mike? I hope you're doing well, man. I know you don't dig the movies, but I appreciate you checking in, Island Mike. Thank you, brother. Really appreciate that. Evans nearly declined the role. Didn't know that. Chiklis wore a real foam suit.
Hmm.
Okay. Alba's blue contacts were digitally enhanced.
Another like, why are you doing that? Like,
No,
it's Jessica Alba. Like, come
I
on,
guess to be
look at
cut.
her right now. She could go play it right now. Like,
I,
come
I
on.
I didn't mind anything about her. I didn't mind anything about. I didn't.
Why are you doing it?
We're gonna keep that. I didn't mind anything about it. I didn't see any issue with Jessica Alba. However, they had her. They flat iron inspired back to the building. Stan Lee
Mhm.
cameoed as Willie Lumpkin. Yep, saw him there. Practical bridge rigs were used. Doom voice was inspired by Vader. Did not know that, but that makes sense.
I'm okay with that.
Roughoid studio gymnast movement, and Vancouver doubled as New York City. So there you go. Okay.
Yeah, they do Vancouver. Normally, when they're doubling for New York City, Vancouver's normally the spot that most studios go for.
Okay. Sequels, which is better? Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer 2007, better pacing. Silver Surfer highlight. Galactus underwhelming. Slight improvement overall. Yeah, they just didn't have the technology to display Galactus back then.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? They just did.
Yeah,
That's one thing I liked about this film in 2025 is we really got to see Galactus.
yeah, we did.
Really got to see him. You really got to see how massive he was. You really got to see just a character that he is. I mean, Galactus is a Marvel um landmark. He's I
Hmm.
mean, you can't Galactus is Galactus, you can't have
Hmm.
Marvel without having Galactus. So I thought it was great that they did that. But this Galactus in 2007 was underwhelming because you couldn't see him.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So it makes sense. Do we get anything wrong here, or you good? Thoughts?
No, I mean, when we do get to Rise of the Silver Surfer, I mean, for a very long time, I had Rise of the Silver Surfer ahead of this one just because. Oh, when we get to when I'm gonna go on a rant on the Silver Surfer because that's poetry right there. That what they did with the Silver Surfer. I will always love Marvel for that. And the
Correct.
Human Torch and Silver Surfer chase at the beginning of that movie is one of the most iconic parts in Marvel history. When
Mm.
he goes right through that building and Johnny says, "Oh, that's cool." Like, yeah, that's cool. That like I love parts of that movie. I am infatuated with parts of that movie, and there's parts of that movie that as I get older, I'm like, why'd they do this? So, yeah, I can't wait for when we get to the Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Well, now you got me stoked about it.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I mean, as a matter of fact, let
Actually, and the fact that we're doing Fantastic Four this week is great because earlier this week, Fantastic Four First Steps came out on Disney Plus.
sure did. But now I gotta see when we're doing Rise of the Silver Surfer. So
Oh,
I'm
it might be in a couple weeks.
I'm checking the schedule. Oh wow. It is. So we got Blade Trinity next week,
Yep.
and then X-Men: The Last Stand, and then Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
And then in December, oh man, we get into Iron Man and Iron Man
Yes.
2, The Incredible Hulk,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and Thor.
We're almost done with the Fox, the major part of the Fox verse.
Wow. And then in January we get into the Avengers
Mm-hmm.
and the Amazing Spider-Man. We are moving along here, sir.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing this, man.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, we're making progress here. That's oh man. Okay, cool. Well, um, may as well get to it, man. Let's get to the ratings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, our ratings. Rotten
Mm-hmm.
Tomatoes gave that. What is going on here, T. Will? What are we doing here, buddy? What are we doing? Okay, ratings. Okay. I guess StreamYard is StreamYard. Let me go back here. Okay. I don't care about that or that or that. All right. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 28%.
Mm.
Woo!
That's
That's
low.
brutal.
So the one thing about Rotten Tomatoes is like that means 28% of people recommend this movie. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a 28 out of 100. It's Rotten Tomatoes scores are always would you recommend this movie or would you not recommend this movie? It's not what score would you give it. So 28% of people recommend this movie, which I think that's really low.
I do too. I do too. They were brutal. IMDb gave it a 5.7 out of 10. That's probably more accurate. Metacritic gave it a 40 out of 10. Cinema Score gave it a B plus. Audience enjoyed it more than the critics. Yeah, I would say so. So let's get to the ratings, buddy. So we got to do our dance like we do at the end of all of these, Jordan. I'm going to go first and then you. T. Will gave Spider Man. Yes, I did speak of myself in third person. T. Will gave Spider Man a 10 out of 10. Spider Man 2 a 9.5 out of 10. Captain America an 8 out of 10. X Men First Class an 8 out of 10. X Men Dark Phoenix an 8 out of 10. Fantastic Four First Steps an 8 out of 10. Blade an 8 out of 10. X Men United 7.5 out of 10. X Men 7.5 out of 10. X Men Apocalypse 7 out of 10. Spider Man 3 6.5 out of 10. Daredevil 6.5 out of 10. Captain Marvel 5.5 out of 10. Elektra 5.5 out of 10. X-Men Origins Wolverine a 5 out of 10. And Blade 2 5 out of 10. So with that being said, I'm going to give Fantastic Four it's between a 6.5 out of 10 and a 7 out of 10. It's I haven't decided. I wish I could give it a 6.75, but I know you won't let me do that.
So let me help you with this. So do you put it in the same category as Spider-Man 3 and Daredevil, or do you put it in the same category as X-Men Apocalypse? That's how I do it. Because I'm like, am I debating on putting it with the 6.5s, or am I debating on putting it with the 7s? And if I feel more comfortable with one,
7 out of 10. It's 7.
7 out of 10.
All right. 7 out of 10. We'll give it 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. All right.
Jordan, you've given Spider-Man a 9.5 out of 10, Spider-Man 2 a 9.5 out of 10, Fantastic Four First Steps a 9.5 out of 10, Captain America the First Avenger 8 out of 10, X-Men First Class 8 out of 10, Blade 7.5 out of 10, X2 7.5 out of 10, X-Men Apocalypse 7 out of 10, X-Men 7 out of 10, X-Men Dark Phoenix 6 out of 10, X-Men Origins 4 out of 10, Spider-Man 3, 3.5 out of 10. Blade 2, 3 out of 10. Daredevil, 2.5 out of 10. Captain Marvel, 2.5 out of 10. And Elektra, 1.5 out of 10. Damn. All right. What say you on this movie, Jordan? What are we giving it?
So, all right. Like, if this was 2005 me, I'm sure this is going to be one of the highest rated Marvel movies ever. To that point, there wasn't many. But I've always had a fun time with this movie. I don't think it's aging very well, and I don't think it's the movie's fault. I think we have a lot of great movies that have come out since then. Yeah. I think this movie will be great for for 50% of people, and I think it'll be bad for 50% of people. So I'm giving it a 5 out of 10, which is the lowest positive score I'm going to give. I'm not going to give this movie will never go below a 5 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
It never will, because I always have fun with this movie.
Yeah.
The issue is we're getting better versions of this.
Yeah.
We're getting better versions of these characters. We are just getting better story. We're getting better writing. We're getting better everything. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I mean, this is a solid movie, and my score is indicative not on the comics, but just movies in general. So that 5 out of 10 score that's good. Like that's good. If these were all based off of just in comparison to all comic book movies, I'm sure a lot of these would be a lot higher. Like I'm sure I would have a lot more 10 out of 10s, but this is just films in general. So yeah, 5 out of 10. I'm going to recommend it to comic book fans. But I don't know if I'm going to recommend this to the average moviegoer. I might one out of every 2 people I'd probably recommend it to.
Okay, that's fair. That is fair, my friend. That is fair. That is fair. That is fair. Well, I tell you what, man, we got Blade Trinity next week, and
I don't have a score for this movie. This is gonna be the last movie that we do that I just don't have a score for, because I never had one for the Blade trilogy until now. So, and I had a fun time with Blade Trinity the first time I watched it.
I did not.
So, I
I
I,
did not.
I had a good time with it. So
Mm.
let's see the second time around how that goes for me.
You know what? I've learned, my friend, I'm not going to judge because you never know, right? You
Mhm.
never know. So I mean, I could have a great time. I could hate it. The only one I'm pretty sure I know that I'll hate for real is going to be the externals. Not the
Mhm.
externals. Oh, gee, the
You can
eternals.
call them the externals.
The externals, yeah. The eternals. I know
It's
I'm
not like
forgetting.
we're gonna see them again.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, you never know, man. You never know. So I mean, if you'd have told me that I've liked a lot of these movies the second time around. I really
Mhm.
have. So it's been fun. It's just this one. It was not bad, but it was like it was two different movies.
Mhm.
It was like when Doom was going down his dissension.
Mhm.
I needed an intervention, man. I needed somebody, like, and then what else was funny was his assistant was like, "Oh, the scar is trending." Like,
Mhm.
it
I have a
was
quick question. Do you put this below or above X-Men Apocalypse, which you also have at 7 out of 10?
below.
Below. All right.
Yeah, it's below. Yeah, yeah, it's below X-Men Apocalypse. But in no way can I can't put it with Spider-Man 3. I just can't. So it's a 7. In Terry world, it's a
Mhm.
7. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, it's cool. So hey, Jordan, tell these folks where they can find you, man.
You can find me at Ultegacy, Ultgacy, posting videos for all sports. I mean, we got we got I mean, NASCAR just ended, so we got a couple videos that Jason, one of our administrators, had posted already. If you can go check that out. College football's, I mean, come down to the wire for bowl season. NFL's already in week. We're at week 10 already in the NFL. That's crazy.
Oh, I know, man.
World Series is over. NBA
Yeah,
and NHL seasons are in full swing.
yeah, man.
So those are all great. You can find me on Letterboxd or Instagram posting about movies. I just saw last night Predator Badlands.
How was
Um,
that?
it was, I'm a huge fan of the Predator movies. I actually don't really care much about the Alien movies when it comes to the two. I prefer the Predator movies. And surprisingly, the audience was cheering when the movie got done. I thought it was good. I was like, okay, I guess we're cheering for anything now.
Oh,
Because I
oh, wow.
don't think that was a cheer. It was good.
Oh,
I gave it
wow.
a 7.5 out of 10. I was
That
like,
was
I liked it. I thought it
that
was
that
fun
almost felt like a get off my lawn comment, like a old
because
man. Like, I guess we're cheering for anything. Like, well, okay, Jordan.
like
Okay.
I didn't understand. I was like, what did like are we cheering for literally everything now? Like if we just watched Super Bowl 53 with the Rams and Patriots, are we
Yeah.
going to cheer after that game? Like
Oh,
no.
was it that
That's kind
bad? Oh,
No, I
you
thought it was a
probably wanted to
good
watch
movie.
that.
I thought it was a solid movie. I gave it 7.5 out of 10. I just I was up in my seat. I actually bought a Back to the Future popcorn bucket because Back to the Future's 45th anniversary
Yep.
was in theaters this week. So I got this cool popcorn bucket, and I picked up my popcorn bucket, was heading out, and there was a small little like mid-credit scene as I was walking out, and when that got done, everybody was cheering. And I'm like, oh, all right, I guess I'm okay. But yeah, that you can see my review on that on Letterboxd. You can see when I'm reviewing anything. And the one thing I want to talk about before we close up, um, we got the Michael biopic coming out in April for Michael Jackson. Jafar Jackson, his nephew, is coming in and playing Michael. I watched the trailer already. I'm hyped. I've been listening to Michael Jackson 24/7. He's my favorite artist ever.
What?
And I
Michael Jackson is your favorite? You are an old soul, sir.
absolutely,
Oh
because
my God, Jordan, you've been here before. Jeez.
I watch I watch, and I remember this to this day.
Uh-huh.
Every time you put in Free Will, you know the movie Free Willy?
Right.
Every time you put the VHS in, right before the movie starts, you get the full music video for Michael Jackson's "Will You Be There." That was my introduction to Michael Jackson,
Okay.
and he opens up the song with "Hold Me Like the River of Jordan." Now I
Yeah.
was like 4 years old. I had no idea what he was talking about. So I'm like, he said my name. I don't know who this dude is, but he
Oh
said my name.
wow.
That was my introduction. Yeah. And first time I ever got on a computer and first time I ever went to YouTube, I watched the Thriller music video, which is the
Great
greatest music
video.
video
One
of
of
all
the
time.
greatest videos of all time. Yes.
And I cannot wait for I am willing to bet this movie makes $1 billion at the box office.
It
And
just might.
Jafar,
It just might.
I I have I have actually had Jafar's music downloaded onto my Apple Music for like 6 years now,
Mm.
before he even got cast in the role, because he only had one song on Apple Music. I don't remember what it was, but if you listen to him, he sounds like Michael. He
Mm.
sounds like Michael. And I'm watching the trailer. It's not even a trailer. It's a teaser trailer, and I'm like, this dude's got it. Like we're in for a treat. And they're supposed to. They have like 3.5 hours of film recorded. They're gonna probably split it into 2 films. My guess is the first one's gonna be called Michael. The second one's gonna be called Jackson. That's my guess. Um, but I cannot wait for this movie. I will be there day one. I will be sitting in the theater. For those who don't know, I was literally Michael Jackson for Halloween one year. Okay, I
What?
I have
Oh
the glove. I
wow.
have the glove.
Oh
I
wow.
had the
Jordan.
I went to see This Is It in theaters when This Is It came out. I
Oh
have This Is It on Blu-ray.
oh
Michael, yeah, oh yeah, and like people are like, oh, you like people think Eminem's my favorite because of how much I know about Eminem. Y'all don't even know. Y'all don't
I,
even
I,
know.
I think we might have to invite you to the cookout, Jordan. I think you just been invited to the cookout. Like, damn. Like, I mean, that's you know what I mean. I mean,
Also,
you
quick
might have
rant.
just checked all the boxes. You might have just done that, Jordan. You might have just done that. Go ahead.
Quick rant. I guess for some reason, and I knew someone when I was really young who thought this. Um, in Wannabe Starting Something, when he says "Mama say Mama sa Makusa," for some reason people thought there was like other lyrics when he was saying that. I don't really know what they thought he was trying to
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
but like I mean I watched a comedian the other day repost his video of saying like what Michael Jackson was actually saying, and I'm like, nah, bro, he clearly saying "Mama say Mama sa Mamakusa." Like it's not like that's weird. Um, yeah, I literally have the Thriller um
Lyrics.
uh record
Mhm.
downstairs.
Yeah.
I have. I mean, I could talk about Invincible. I mean, a lot of people don't even know that Biggie was literally in 2 songs with Michael
Yeah,
Jackson.
he was.
One of them was Invincible. I mean, there was I mean, there's a whole Wikipedia page of unreleased music with Michael Jackson, which included
Mhm.
like songs with LL Cool J, Tupac, um, like Beastie Boys, like literally all these different artists. There's just unreleased music that we don't know. There are flash drives out there somewhere in this world
Mm.
that have years worth of music of Michael Jackson that have yet to be released. And one of these days, someone's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna accidentally plug in this USB, post it on the YouTube, and there goes all the content for the next century, 2 centuries of Michael Jackson." So yeah, that's how much I love Michael Jackson. Um, when it comes to celebrities, anyone with the name Michael has always been someone I've looked up to. Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, Michael Vick. Like it's natural.
I think you just got invited to the cookout, man. I really do. I'm not laughing. Like I really think you just got invited to the cookout. It is good at any African American cookout across the United States. You know, um, I don't know how you like your potato salad, so I don't know how you like it, but we make it a little different. But you're invited to the cookout, man. I'm just saying you passed the test, sir. You're officially invited. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Jordan? Jesus, man. Let me tell you something. When Thriller first came out, Jordan, the best video.
It's the
I
best album.
so
The whole Thriller album's the best
oh
album of
my
all time.
god, dude.
No
When
misses.
and shout out to MTV, which I think just closed their doors
Yeah.
last week or
Mm-hmm.
so shout out to MTV, but MTV played it every hour on the hour when it first came out. And me
Mm-hmm.
and my friends would literally sit down. So it was 84. Yeah, it was I want to say it was the winter of 84, and it comes out, and every hour on the hour for like 3 days, because it came out, I want to say, on a Thursday or Friday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're all in front of the TV, and we are watching it every hour on the hour, because this was before the internet, right? So you didn't have the internet, you couldn't go. So we just sit there and watch it, man. It was amazing. I cannot tell you how many people lost their collective stuff over this video. Now, before that video came out, I think it was Beat It and Billie Jean, and they did great. But when that video came out,
Mm-hmm.
Thriller went through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
It went. I mean, it was incredible. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think he's ever, and no disrespect to anything he did subsequently thereafter, but nothing equaled the success of Thriller. Literally
Mm-hmm.
every song on that album, or most of them, were ranked somewhere in the top 20. Like,
Yeah.
they were just phenomenal album, man. But I will never ever forget that, bro. So that's just amazing, man. And you said that comes out in April?
Yeah, April.
All
I
right.
can't. April can't get here soon enough.
So
I will be there. I'll probably watch it
so
multiple times.
I'm gonna go on record and say we gotta preview that movie.
Yeah.
We have to.
Oh yeah.
No doubt about it. We have to. Week of, we gotta sync
Mm-hmm.
up our schedules, but we have
Mm-hmm.
to preview that movie, man. So
Mm-hmm.
super excited about it. Thank you for telling me about that.
If
Now I gotta
they
go.
don't, they better play Billie Jean. If Billie Jean is my number one song, and then
Gotta be
Man
Billie
in the Mirror.
Jean. Beat it. Billie Jean, beat it.
There's just that's
Thriller
the issue. There are so many
songs.
top
Yeah,
songs that you
yeah,
could put into this that
yeah.
just aren't going to have time. My guess is that because this movie's going to be split into two films, I don't know if we're going to get the Bad album in this.
Yeah,
And the Bad album is also one of the greatest albums of all
it
time.
it is. It's a good album.
And but like you have to cover the Jackson 5 era.
Yeah.
Like you have to at some point you got to play I'll Be There. Like
ABC.
ABC.
I'll
Like
be there.
you have to play those.
Yeah.
At some point
Yeah.
you got to do the whole Off the Wall
Yep.
album.
Yep.
And
Yep.
my guess is, but they're gonna cover Thriller, and Thriller is gonna be the climax of that film, and then we're going to then get
Part
into
two.
Bad's gonna start, and
Yeah.
that's how we're gonna finish, and we'll finish with obviously this. I don't even know if they're gonna touch on This Is It. I hope they do, because I remember the lead up to This Is It coming out, and like I was like I was what 8 years old when that came out, 9, and I was covering like when they were going to be releasing it and stuff like that, watching all the trailers and stuff, and like when I was watching it, I was like, oh, I wonder if this is going to be his last album or his last like anything, because the song's called This Is It, and then he dies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I remember sitting in, that is the first ever celebrity death that I've ever like experienced, that I was like, whoa, like
Yeah.
this is crazy.
Shook you. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and you know, like I literally, Free Willy is one of my most rewatched movies ever. of my childhood. I literally rewatched it for the first time in years the other month, and I was just like, I love this movie, and I I was just I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe he died. I was
I
like,
got a
this is
question
ridiculous.
for you. I got
Yeah.
a question for you, and I don't want you to get upset when I ask you this, but
Mm-hmm.
I ask a lot of people this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now that you're invited to the cookout, I'm just going to ask: is Chris Brown the second coming of Michael Jackson?
No, he's not.
Okay.
He's got the dance. He's got the dance move. Oh, he can nail the dance moves. In fact, when Chris Brown did his tribute to Michael, what song was he doing? I think it might have been Billie Jean or Man in the Mirror, and he was crying while he was doing it. That is to this day, I think, the best dancing performance I've seen from
Mhm.
someone trying to do a Michael Jackson song. But in no way, shape, or form, I don't think I. In
Not his
my
voice,
opinion,
not his
in
voice.
my opinion, the closest any artist has come to the level of Michael Jackson, and I'm going to say this, and I'm also going to add like an asterisk to it because he no longer is,
Hmm.
was Justin Bieber. Because like Michael was alive at the time that Justin Bieber was like peaking,
Hmm.
and I remember like people calling him the Prince of Pop with Michael being the King of Pop,
Hmm. Hmm.
and like he had gone on a run where he was just going album after album, and Justin Bieber was literally everywhere. This dude had a movie coming out. I literally watched. I took my mom to go see that movie, and he was put on this pedestal that, in my opinion, no child should ever be put on at that age.
Right,
He was put
right.
on, and in fact, he was sexualized as a child in Hollywood, and that was just purely disgusting. And it
Yeah,
led to the trauma that he has now gone through.
yeah.
And I feel bad for him now. And I
And
actually I
that
was
happens to
annoyed
a
with
lot of
him.
kids in Hollywood. That
Yes,
happens to a lot of
and
college stars. Yeah.
the difference is, and Justin has the voice to the voice range that, in my opinion, I've never heard. There are very few male singers that I've seen that I've
Yeah.
heard that have his range.
Maybe
Michael,
maybe
obviously,
Justin
Michael had the
Timberlake.
biggest.
Maybe
Yes,
Justin
Justin
Timberlake.
Timberlake.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
but Justin Bieber at a very young age was put on that pedestal, like Michael.
Hmm.
Michael was also at a very young age, younger than Justin,
Hmm.
put on that pedestal. They both went just different routes. Like
Right.
Michael ended up embracing that,
Well,
and Justin wanted to be normal.
I think they were both damaged.
Yes, they
I
both were
think they
100%
just
damaged.
chose different avenues to express it.
Yes.
But I agree with you that when you have a child and you hold them up on this and you put all that pressure on them, and
Hmm.
there's a scene in or a passage in his book where he talks about getting off a plane and being maybe 5, 6, 7 years old and all these people screaming, and he was terrified in the
Yeah.
car, just terrified.
Hmm.
And that is true. But when I talk about Chris Brown, his stage presence is more so. No, he doesn't have the voice that Michael Jackson does. But
Hmm.
if you've
He's
ever
got the
seen him
dance moves.
perform, his
Hmm.
stage presence, because
Hmm.
to me and my father and I, and hey, miss your dad, but my father and I would have this conversation all the time, and we're both narcissists, so we would never agree. But he
Hmm.
would say that Sammy Davis Jr. was the greatest entertainer that he had ever seen. And I would be like, Dad, Bupkis, whatever. Have you seen Michael Jackson? Now,
Hmm.
Sammy Davis Jr. was a
I know Sammy Davis Jr. Yes.
comedian.
Yes.
He was
Yes.
a singer. He was an actor. And he may
Yes.
be an EGOT. He may be. I think Jamie Foxx, if he's not, he's close to it. I know that what's her name who played on How to Get Away with Murder is an EGOT. I think
Hmm.
Whoopi Goldberg is an EGOT, which means you've won an Emmy, an Oscar,
Hmm.
a Tony, and a Grammy, I think. And I think I know Sammy's won a Grammy and an Oscar. I think he won a Tony. But anyway, my father would say that he was, the candy man. He was sorry for my impersonation, but my father loved Sammy Davis Jr. Now, in my mind's eye, and no disrespect to Sammy, because he was clearly way more talented than anybody I know. But in my humble opinion, he's not even in Michael's universe, right? I've never seen people, and why would I? I'm only 55 in 10 days, 9. I've never seen grown men cry at Sammy Davis Jr.'s concert. I've seen grown men pass out at Michael Jackson. Grown men, not women, not just women. I've seen grown men like, oh my God, Michael, pass out. Now, I wouldn't, okay? But I'm not going to lie. If I met Michael Jackson, he is one of the, now I'm confident, okay? And I've met celebrities, but I probably would be speechless. Like if Mike rolled up and was like, what's up, T. Will? I'd be like, that's Michael Jackson. Did he just talk to me? Holy shit, did he just talk to me? Kim, Mike, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't.
Kim, get the camera.
I wouldn't know what to do, right? He's one of the few people that I would be like, holy shit, Mike, don't go anywhere. Kim, come here. This is Michael Jackson. I just if you've ever seen Mike perform a show, I can't think of anybody better. And don't get me wrong, Prince is great on stage. Prince can play any instrument, but to me, in my lifetime, Michael Jackson is the greatest performer that I've ever seen. What I will say, however, is Chris Brown is coming. Like his maybe not his voice, but his shows, the coordination, the dancing, the stunts, he gives a great concert. Great, like next level. Like I'm flying in the air. And of course the technology is there to where you can do that now. Okay. But watching some footage from his concert, he just kind of reminded me of Michael Jackson. I'm not gonna lie, he just his showmanship, his ability to get in and out of breaks. That probably you don't know this, Jordan, because I can't see my shoes anymore. But back in the day, I was quite the dancer. I could pick him up and put him down, Jordan. Okay, I was him. Damn it. And there were two people that I really admired, and one of them is Chris Brown. Okay, because let me tell you how I grow to admire you. If you can do a move that I can't do in my basement, that I can't do in my bathroom, I gotta respect you. And there are three people that back when I was doing it, like I couldn't dance how to save my life. My fat ass, I couldn't even do it. But back when I was doing it, and I had a waistline, and I could see my shoes. It was probably Chris Brown. There was a guy named Turbo that was way before your time. It's from the movie Breaking. You may have not seen, you may not, but Turbo was a popper, but just phenomenal dancer. And there was Chris Brown, and those two, and Janet Jackson, right? Because I've seen Janet do moves that I could never do, right? You get in and out of breaks, smooth transitions, just certain things that just people that are regular humans can't do. But Chris Brown has steadily gotten better as he's aged. And in my humble opinion, right now, best dancer on the planet. From my standpoint, a lot of people say, "Well, what about Usher?" I like Usher, but
Usher's out of his. Usher used to be. If this were 15 years ago, I would have said Usher would have been up there. Which is why I said Justin Bieber, because Justin Bieber had the voice, and Usher was taking him under his wing.
Yeah.
And Usher was in his peak then. You're having one of the greatest dancers in the world teach one of the best young and up and coming singer to be arguably the biggest celebrity in the world.
Yeah.
Like, and you know what? And I actually, so most of my friends like the old Justin Bieber songs, and I've grown to actually like a lot of his newer music because I'm like he's now singing how he wants to sing,
Mhm.
and I respect that.
Mhm.
I've grown to have a lot of respect because right now he just wants to live a normal life.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, is he maybe he's drinking a little too much, but um maybe he's doing a little stuff on the side that maybe he shouldn't be doing. But I think it almost reminds me of like what Eminem was going through in like the mid 2000s. Like, I mean, at some point he might snap out of it and realize like he's got to be better for his kids. And I mean that doesn't necessarily mean he has to do any more music.
Yeah.
I don't think Justin needs to put music at all ever at out. So like that, I mean, he was the closest person that I've seen to possibly getting to Michael's status to where like people were breaking down barriers and walls to go and see him. And I've to this day I've never seen an athlete treated like that except for historically only Michael Jordan was the
Yeah.
closest.
Yeah.
And like when it comes to actors and actresses, I've never seen an actor or actress on that level.
Yeah.
And when it comes to singers, Michael Jackson is one. And in my lifetime, I've only seen people do that with Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
And I do they do it anymore? No, probably not. But Justin also doesn't perform as much as he normally does. He usually joins other people on stage, but otherwise, like nobody gets to that level. Actually, Taylor Swift has now gone to that level. The difference is Taylor Swift has no idea how to dance whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also I don't really care for her music all that well.
Yeah. The closest to me to Sammy Davis Jr. would be Jamie Foxx
Hmm.
because Jamie is funny. Jamie is
Yeah.
very funny.
Oh yeah, he's
Jamie
funny.
can also sing, and
Hmm.
Jamie, I believe, has an Oscar. I think he has an Oscar.
He
Yeah,
should because I
he
love
won,
him in some movies.
he won an Oscar for Ray, I think. I think he did.
Mhm. I love
So
him in Horrible Bosses.
yeah, yeah, it was. But to me, like he is the closest, and my dad wouldn't acknowledge him because whatever. He's
Hmm.
my dad's a baby boomer, and
Hmm.
wherever my dad is, he's right there. Like whatever, Terry, shut up. He right now. My dad's saying Sammy Davis Jr. is the greatest, and that's it.
Eminem might have one because he does have the Oscar for 8 Mile and doing the Lose Yourself soundtrack. Because 8 Mile won an Oscar. I don't. He might. I'm not 100% on it, but I know he's got an Oscar for Lose Yourself. Because that's
He
why he performed at the Oscars.
he doesn't have an EGOT, but he's only one award away. So he
What
won
does
an
he need?
Emmy for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He's won multiple Grammy. He needs a Tony.
What's a Tony?
It's
That's the only one
like
I have no idea what that is.
when plays, like when you're on Broadway.
Oh, Eminem's never gonna do Broadway.
Yeah, yeah. And
He's
you're
never gonna
sideways,
do
by the way.
Broadway.
Your camera
I
flipped. You're sideways or something. Your camera. There we go. There you go. Well, nope. There you go. There you are. Yeah. Okay. You're good now.
yeah.
But
Yeah. Unless they turn 8 Mile into a Broadway play.
well, you never never say
I don't know
never.
anymore. I don't
Never
know
say
anymore.
never. Never say. You know what? Let's look at the modern day EGOTs. List of EGOTs you're still living.
Yeah, I was thinking like Eminem's pretty close. I mean,
I know Whoopi Goldberg is. Uh,
does Queen Latifah have one?
I don't think so. Whoopi Goldberg, Rita Moreno, Rita from the Electric Company. Hey, you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Marvin Hamlick, Audrey Hepburn is, Helen Hayes, Mel Brooks, Richard
Mel
Rogers,
Brooks.
Benji Pasek, John Goulin, Mike Nichols, Jonathan Tunick, Scott Rudlin, John Legend. I did not know John Legend.
Yeah.
Jennifer Hudson, is an EGOT.
Yeah.
Get out
Oh
of here.
yeah, Jennifer Hudson, definitely. Oh yeah.
Okay. Elton John, Alan
Yep.
Menken, Andrew Lloyd Webber, Jonathan Tunick, Robert Lopez. Did not know that. Tim Rice and Viola Davis.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a short list. That is
That'd be fun. if Eminem ever decided to do 8 Mile on Broadway, that would be the funniest thing I ever hear. I mean, look, I've heard crazy things put on Broadway before, but like, I mean, you could very easily do it on Broadway. It would just be really funny.
It wouldn't be the first hip hop inspired show. Like,
yeah,
that could happen.
it could,
especially because he's one short.
And like stuff like Hamilton that have come out and like doing like a lot of rap in their artwork, kind of inspires a lot of newer productions to do that sort of thing. So it might open the door for one. I don't know if like an 8 Mile one would necessarily work, but I mean, Eminem's also, I mean, a lot of people don't know this. Eminem was the first choice to play Brian in Fast and the Furious, not Paul Walker.
Really?
Because he was, it was either he was reached out by whoever was getting the cast together, and I think they were in the beginning stages of 8 Mile, or they got done 8 Mile, and the director was like, you'd have a future in Hollywood. It like because a lot, and Eminem's been in a few movies here and there, and you know, you can tell when Eminem's trying to be serious and when he's just trying to have fun. And a lot of the movies that he's in, he's just trying to have fun. He's not trying to like be like he's already got his Oscar. Like, I mean, you can clearly tell that in 8 Mile he was being very serious, and I mean, he just said no. And I mean, we ended up getting Paul Walker, which honestly I'm glad, because I love Paul Walker. I think Paul Walker is amazing.
Rest in peace, Paul Walker, man. Gone way. Yeah, definitely. I love the tribute they paid to him, man. That was great. I love the way they did that in that movie. I love the song they dedicate. Every time I hear that song, man, I just tear up a little bit.
Some of my favorites playlist.
Yeah. Just a great. I love Paul Walker, man. I got nothing bad to say about him. So that's great. Well, hey, man, you know, this was fun. Good thing is we get to come back next week and do it again. You can check us out at For My ATL Movies on YouTube, or For My ATL Sports 1. If you're into Atlanta sports, you can go to For My ATL Sports 1. We talk Falcons, Hawks, Braves, Bulldogs, everything Atlanta. And if you love movies, you can go to For My ATL Movies on YouTube. And we're doing the MCU, but I do a litany of other things. So, you know, we do Netflix and Prime movies and some current movies too. So, and we're definitely going to do the Michael Jackson biopic. So we'll see you then. But anyway, hey, to everybody who joined in the chat, thank you. Thank God for sending, amen, you guys in my path and my way, and just so appreciative for you guys just to stop by and spend some time with us. Greatly appreciate it. To everybody on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. Really enjoyed you guys watching this with us, and we're so appreciative. And hey, man, thank God for my friend and compadre here, Mr. Jordan Burton. We do this thing every week, and hey, man, I love it, and I think I'm a better person for it. So, Jordan, thank you for going with me on this journey, my friend. Last but not least, thank you to Mr. Jack Spade and Mr. Eric Parker for giving my start in this business. Thank you to God for waking me up this morning. And yeah, man, you guys have an amazing day. Go Eagles. Hope your Saints lose, Jordan. Don't really hate your Eagles. They're okay. But yeah, hope your Saints lose to my Falcons. We won't even get into that. But yeah, man, you guys have a great day. See you, everybody. This movie was about
Lights, camera, action is going down. For my ATL movies, when we run this town with your host, T-Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the class, this was setting the pace. highlighting the magic of a soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. T-Will, T-Will. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. T-Will, T-Will. Every frame we capture is a real deal. Yeah. Talking premieres where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine. Behind the lens.